Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.
Hello and welcome back to the last day of PMPL South Asia Qualifiers 2022. I'm going to be your host Ankit, and joining alongside me is going to be JyanMaara Gaming. And yesterday we just saw a couple of teams making a comeback, and today is going to be the ultimate day, the last 5 matches to be in the top 8, and top 8 out of all these 16s will be moving to the PMPL.
Absolutely, dude. That is so very crucial indeed because the 5 matches that are left to be played right here in the PMPL qualifier are going to be essential and so very crucial for all of these 16 teams. I mean, yesterday we saw a really good performance coming in from the teams on the second page of the leaderboard, but today we shall have to see if that will be the story or the known teams from first day like DRS, Savage are going to be the ones dominating. With that, let's move on to the point structure, of course, where we do know that Chicken Dinner walks away, or the Chicken Dinner winner team walks away with 15 points. Along with that elimination point, where indeed you talk about that first game on day number 1 itself, where Savage got 26 elimination points, 26
That's the influence.
defeats.
That's the
Wow.
influence.
Wow.
10 games by then, to be more precise, 9 games by then, and we're still talking about the very first game. That's the influence. That
Exactly
with
right.
what this PMPL qualifier started with things with off, and pretty much the same as Brother mentioned. 15 for the first, 12 for the second, as just mentioned. But let's head towards the squad roster for the moment. And let's just have a quick look as to what teams will be again playing in the today's games. 16 teams, and in that very first team, 7C Esports, Venom Legends, Seal9 Esports, and Paradox. 7C Esports, yesterday we saw a couple of games. I remember yesterday's Pochinki Circle finish itself, where Circle ended just outside of Pochinki, and they ended the match without any finish point, 10 placement points. That has been the strategy, pretty much working in the favor. But DRS Gaming, they have been really with pulling up a stellar performance. Now, Gangsters and ElementriX. We'll talk about all these teams when we get to the head-to-head. But before that, I really want to talk about the performance that WGNRC has put up, Bloda.
Absolutely, because again, I mean, you talk about WGNRC, another team that needs to be mentioned along in the same breath with Savage Esports, because WGNRC got themselves a 20 defeat, 20 elimination wonderful game, even though they did not get that chicken dinner in the game, but it was an incredible feat that was showcased from their side. On the other front, as we talk about teams, let's move on towards TRZ Esports, JyanMaara Esports, Noob Alliance, who got the first chicken dinner in yesterday's first game on Erangel, along with 2RGR Esports as well. So if we are to talk about yesterday's overall game, it was a brilliant day and an incredible turn of events for the side of Paradox as they showcased the comeback in the final 2 games. But moving on to the storyboard, as it is, we do still have Savage Esports leading the charts with 3 chicken dinners, 125 points. Following them closely is going to be DRS Gaming, and then is going to be JyanMaara Esports. All these 3 teams have moved into the 3-digit marker, and now we're only waiting for TRZ Esports to claim their throne on that 3-digit total point marker as well.
93 for TRZ Esports, as you perfectly mentioned. The big 0 in the name of JyanMaara Esports in the column of chicken. I really want it to get filled with at least 1 before this complete event ends. Pretty much looking comfortable, isn't it, brother, for TRZ till Venom Legends, 84 points. I guess that should be enough for them. But yes, they will have 5 matches and they will be getting, I hope, that 100 marker for them. But things get interesting from WGNRC 79 to 77 from XBROTHERS ES. They stand at 8th position, and when we move towards the 9th to 16, we get to see ElementriX. So 8-point difference, 6-point difference to be precise, between ElementriX, who stand at 8th position, and Brothers at 77. Gangsters not far away, 67, just the 4-point difference, and 4 plus 6 makes it 10. So Gangsters and ElementriX teams above them, not a lot of difference. That's all I want to talk about. And just look at the point table distribution that we have. Noob Alliance still getting 1 chicken at the 13th position. They still have a really good chance in the today's gameplay with Paradox, Seal9 Esports, and Gremlin Storms. I really want them to make a comeback. Just try hard and just try to stop the teams that are above you.
Absolutely, dude, because again, I mean, you move on through towards the final few teams that are on this bottom half of the leaderboard. We've got Paradox, we've got S9 Esports, we've got Gremlin Storm. Now, these teams, they are, well, again, I mean, for Gremlin Storm majorly, because they've only got 6 placement points.
23 elimination.
All the teams, exactly right. Of all the teams that are playing here, the only team to still be stuck in a single-digit placement point number is going to be Gremlin Storm, and the aggression that they've showcased is brilliant, on par, on point, absolutely working for their favor with 23 eliminations. But is that going to be enough? Because now they've only got 5 games remaining. So again, today being the final day, we are definitely going to be looking at a lot of YOLO approaches being showcased from the side of these teams on the second half of the leaderboard. With that, as we move on towards the head-to-head, let's let's move on to, of course, Ankit to take this conversation forward.
Thank you, observers, for this interesting stats coming up. We have ElementriX and DE Gangsters. Now, the curiosity increases here because both these teams are out of top 8 blotter. One is at 9th and one is at 10th. With 71 points, we just saw in the points table, ElementriX dealt 9,100 damage. Gangsters, pretty lesser in number in terms of the damage dealt and also damage received. Not has been the part of a lot of fights. If you remember yesterday's to Erangel, when blah 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 was left out from the squad in the very first half of the game, the team completely played too passive, and the last game they did secure a chicken. 28 elimination, 30 knockout. Average survival, since it has been, I guess, 5 seconds still more than ElementriX. This completely shows that Severny, yes, drop location has been working in their favor, but they need to get these elimination points. We just got to see they really had those placement points working in the favor, but I guess today is the day where they have to throttle themselves up, just get the seal bet acclimated, and the 5 game. I bet you everyone, those who have just joined in, these 5 games are going to be the best before you head into the upcoming PMPL.
Absolutely, dude. Because again, I mean, you talk about ElementriX, the working factor right here is going to be, well, they have been consistent. And talk about consistency, that has been a bit of an ups and downs and curvy situation for the side of Savage Esports, where we've got a head-to-head between 2 players coming in. Of course, it's going to be Hershey from the side of Savage Esports going up against Soulless from JyanMaara. Now, yesterday we did see an incredible feat and turn of performance coming in from the side of Soulless from JyanMaara. And overall, as we can clearly see, the difference between the two, even though the average survival time for the side of Soulless JyanMaara from JyanMaara is going to be 21 minutes and 8 seconds, and Hershey being at 20 minutes and 44 seconds, but we can clearly see the difference because the eliminations, the knockouts, the damage, it is all the damage dealt. It is all working in favor of Hershey, and I have to admit that the first day was a banger of a performance for the side of Hershey, where indeed that 8 elimination point difference that we can see right here between 30 and 22, that 8 elimination points came in from the first day itself on the map of Erangel.
Definitely, this was the head-to-head between teams and the players, but let's just head towards the schedule for the day, and I guess we'll be pretty much the same. The day starts with Erangel, ends with Erangel, the saga gets completed, and it's still uncompleted if we don't include these 2 voids between 3 Erangels by the name of Miramar and Sanhok, Blora.
Absolutely, dude. Because again, I mean, you talk about first days at Erangel. Well, we had Savage Esports claiming the throne, and a victorious play was showcased from their side with 41 points, I think is what they walked away with, or something along the lines. But as we move on through to Miramar, that was all taken care of by Venom Legends. This is again day 1 that I'm talking about, lads. As we move on to day 2, this is where things kind of changed a little bit, because again, we had XBROTHERS who were the ones who were the champions on Miramar. And I mean, day number 2 was a very different style of play that was showcased from the entirety of the lobby. But now on day 3, what is going to be the case? What team is it going to be that will be reigning in supreme from one game to the next? And again, as was perfectly showcased by the schedule as well, we've got 3 games of Erangel. So will Savage Esports be able to continue along with the spree that they've been able to play, or there are going to be new names coming in from the second page of the leaderboard that are going to be the ones dominating on this day number 3 of PMPL qualifiers? Well, we are going to find out in just a matter of minutes.
Definitely, and I hope, I root for the latter one, the latter statement that you just mentioned, the comeback story. It's always so optimistic to watch, and also for us to cast with, and also for the players, for those budding players that have been continuously watching all these teams and have been supporting for one last time. This is the last 5 matches for all those who have just tuned in. These are the last 5 matches. 16 team just went on a venture for the 15 matches, and 10 has been then the last 5 matches. Will be completely sealing the deal. We have talked a lot about a lot of team, but really want to jump to a conversation regarding 2RGR. So now this was a team where they stood at least on top 5 and top 6 before yesterday's game ended, but they just slipped to 11th position. And since they are on 11th position, but still not a lot of point of difference between 63 of RGR and 77 of XBROTHERS. If you make maths technically, that's just the 14-point difference. And we have seen any team who is securing a chicken dinner, 8 kill or even 9 kill, 26-27 points has been on an average. If we have been, just witnessed all this last 5 to 10 games, 2RGR have a real good chance they can just bounce back.
Well, that is true, mate. That is definitely true and possible for the side of 2RGR as well, as I've been talking about that team from day number one altogether itself. But another team I do want to mention along in the same category is going to be Noob Alliance, right? A team from Sri Lanka that got that first chicken dinner on the map of Erangel yesterday. I mean, a brilliant play was showcased from them, but sadly, as the day moved on along from game number 1 to game number 2, yesterday on day 2, the overall storyboard kind of felt against them, because they were in the top 8 with that wonderful play that showcased their chicken dinner, but then slowly but steadily they pushed on along to the second page, and now they find themselves on that 13-14 position. Yeah, it's just not looking good for their side, but hopefully today's 5 games will work in their favor. With that, let's jump into the arena, into the battleground. It is time to jump with, and get busy with rather, with the Erangel map that is going to be leading in supreme. And we've got the flight path on our screens, as we do have the military base once again, the start of the entire flight path. But this time around, it is going to be a little bit of a difference in terms of how the flight path is going to be showcased, because from the southeastern front of military base, we're going to be going all the way up to Giorgio Pole. So a lot of opportunities for the teams. Now I do want to keep my keen eyes towards Seal 9 as well, right? Because S9, we know they love their military base, but this time around they've got the option. They could stick in the flight path altogether to go towards Georgia Pole, or they're going to jump out. Well, seems like they've already answered my question. They've jumped out already, and they are going to be sticking to their known location of military base as of now on the first map of Erangel.
Definitely, they did have. But I want some extra masala from Seal 9 at least today's gameplay. Let's just see what they have to offer to us. Just don't try the same thing. Come something out of different. Come something out of ordinary. But with that being said, Gremlin Storms also having acclimated themselves in the Novo Rupnoi. We still are waiting for that circle. Noob Alliance jumping to the area of Milta Power, DRS, Safe Haven searching around the areas of Milta. Savage Esports will have a long glide, to be honest. They'll have to extend their parachute for a long. And JyanMaara is also a team that searches vehicle around Mansion and Yasnaya Polyana. And Savage Esports are still under the same vicinity. Circle, already there is a love bond between Circle and Oceanic region. I don't know what it is that actually. But yes, still 25 to 28% of the total area that Circle has comprised still consists underwater. Paradox been finding themselves on the western side. And if you remember the Paradox earlier drop location when they used to play that last PMCO, they used to jump towards the area of Lipovka, and they haven't been single time jump towards the area of Lipovka. But there we have it. As we talked about, Savage Esports just thrashing JyanMaara on the face of it.
Well, with a Tommy Ligro definitely pushing in a lot of 80s vibes right here with a gangster approach. Ligro definitely pushing down JyanMaara's wonderful spray, and this is what is going to probably result in them getting the elimination. But no, it's definitely going to be JyanMaara who will definitely get a P1911 action going on from the side of Sanshir, and it is going to be UMP that is definitely going to be completely savaging against the domination that was being showcased from the side of Savage, because it is Hershey, the man, the legend, the myth of the hour, who is the one-man army remaining from the side of Savage. They've got one elimination defeat, but that is all that they were able to walk away with.
And the best part is we started there with Savage Esports 125 point at the top, but there we have it, a shotgun getting onto the body. But yes, finally has been eliminated. That 3-second wipe. 3-second hype
that
from my
has
side.
to be the quickest elimination. I mean, 3 minutes in, we've already got an entire team getting eliminated on the final day. Exactly. I mean, that is what does end up happening. I mean, you do see a lot of contestations, and JyanMaara, I mean, yesterday also, correct me if I'm wrong, Ankit, but yesterday also JyanMaara was the one who were trying to contest on Erangel especially against the drop location of Savage, and this time around again, they're doing the exact same thing, right?
And this time, so last time there was an intentional fight that went on. They really tried to cut off the rotation, but last time itself there was some sort of parachute gliding in where the player was stuck out in the open. This time itself, both the team, I don't know how, but decided to fall them onto the same squad house, and nobody was in position. Maybe they were in, but it's just that Savage Esports are on the top, so they don't have any fear of losing out. And also, provided that
True
JyanMaara
as well.
started the day with the third position in their favor, so they still don't have any fear of losing out. Now, one thing that can happen in today's gameplay is that JyanMaara just can edge out Savage Esports if they have again one good game, provided this game they just not end up eliminating Savage Esports, but other squads too.
Absolutely, because again, in the middle is going to be DRS, the real soldiers who are sticking to that second position like a thorn, and that is something that JyanMaara are going to have to overcome if they want to be able to dominate against Savage. But again, talk about domination. I mean, they've already showcased that they are definitely going to be able to do so very phenomenally and beautifully, and that is something that was just well, again, I mean, just a perfect cherry on top to start the day off, where Savage Esports get eliminated in the first 3 minutes of the game altogether itself. And talk about first blood. I mean, we've got first 4 bloods already confirmed in the game, and of course, in doing so, JyanMaara also did lose one of their players. But along with that, now we're going to go on to that snail pace approach from the side of these teams, because yesterday also we saw this again and again, where these teams started taking a back-seated approach in those games. And as you so perfectly do keep on mentioning, that they do know what is on stake, and that is the PMPL qualifying, where indeed the top 8 squads, the top 8 teams are going to move on forth. And well, none of these squads, none of these teams want to be left out, basically.
Definitely, and I really expected certain teams to go with a bonker start. They are still finding themselves on the bottom half of the chart, but that's not the case. Teams at first, second, and third, they still have a race. Maybe they are just trying the gunpowder before they step into that big event, the PMPL, the upcoming PMPL. They're just trying for it. But I really didn't like the approach with what Savage Esports went into the fight. There was not a position. They were in a position where Savage Esports could have a complete control of that fight, but they just lost the cause of it. Moving on to Seal9 Esports, what has been done has already been done. Nothing can be turned, but still have 4 games left for the day. They just need to make sure that Savage Esports and ElementriX, let's just see, for the next 4 games, the fight ends off, or it still persists, or still consistently goes on. But on the screen, we need to talk about this team. Something is really wrong with this team. Seal9 Esports, Zaki, Senior, Munke, Inky. This has been the team that has played the prestigious PMPL, in which we have a lot of team coming up, big names. They have performed, but they are not have been able to deliver in the qualifiers itself, where we have certain new teams not so professionally good in this scene as compared to what Seal9 has been. I'm not taking any credits away from any teams, but Seal9 certainly has held a huge respect. Not because of what they have done, but the way the players have molded themselves up, missing 1 week and then qualifying for the Super Weekend. This is something that Seal9 can be able to do, but this time Seal9 has been really lacking something with.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, I have no idea what exactly is going on with Seal9, but definitely the way that they've been able to play this entire tournament, this is definitely not the Seal9 that we know. And the players themselves, I mean, we know the players, but somewhere along the line, they seem to be lacklustered quite a lot in this tournament altogether, in the 10 games that we've already witnessed. And with that, as we move on through with the game, we seem to have another fight taking place with Venom Legends. Frypan is going to be bringing down a player from XBROTHER, and that is not the playstyle that we do see XBROTHER, because again, that is a team that sticks together. But this time around, it seems like one of the players was caught off guard, and that's going to be none other than Elite, who was out in the open all by himself. And of course, Venom Legends took the reins and were able to definitely dominate against him. In doing so, they've gotten that 1 elimination point confirmed for their side. The first point coming in for the side of Venom Legends, where indeed on the other front for XBROTHERS, they are now going to be a 3-man army. But again, I mean, we've seen this team, they stay dormant, you know, they stay dormant till the time they know that they have to act. And once they do, we have seen them take chicken dinners, we have seen them take wonderful defeats and elimination points. So it is very much possible for the 3-man squad of XBROTHERS to still be able to overcome the competition in this game. But on the front, it seems like WGNRC's Zen is going to be putting a nail in the coffin towards Monkey from the side of S9, as they try and make that rotation from the military base onto the main island. And that is something that, of course, C9 was not anticipating, but sadly, exactly what WGNRC were waiting for.
Horrifying conditions for Seal 9 players. Completely terrified. And RC just saw those potential kills. Potential elimination, sorry for that. They have really done it pretty well, but I guess some players could have also been taken down. And now, provided that we still have two more Erangels for this qualifiers left, Seal 9 Esports should have been better prepared. This game, one player down, rest of the lobby needs to take care of it. But the circle, we'll get to see in a while, still have the 25 to 30% of total areas of the water body. And in this sort of circle, we have talked about the Zerky drop for Kings of BD. Now they are sitting themselves and finding themselves with the Georgia pull. A lot of team are still out in the open. I still want observers to have a quick look again at the mini-map. And yes, thank you for that. Onto the Georgia Pull Hill, we have 7 Cs in the big split. If you look at that, Venom Legends just trying to get a hold of to that southern side of that Georgia Pull. This is the big cliff that we all talk about. Out of the zone, let's just have a look at it. Noob Alliance out of it. I guess Gremlin Storm's also out of it. Paradox need to have this game just going in. They just need to make a travel of, I guess, 500 to 700 meter, and they just find themselves in a better half of the compound. But around the area of Gatka, I just can expect this circle to have a final shift.
Well, that is very much possible. Definitely a right-hand shift coming in from the side of the zone is definitely going to be putting a little bit of a troublesome situation for the teams that find themselves towards the north of this zone, towards Georgia Pole, where we do have the Gangsters as well as Kings of BD. But on the front, as we talk about teams still waiting to make that rotation, we do have NRC, we do have Gremlin Storm, who are finding themselves on that 16th position, as we did see earlier in the overall standing in the storyboard. Altogether, Gremlin Storm, an aggressive team, have been able to accumulate 23 elimination points, if I'm not mistaken, but only 6 placement points. So this time around, they are going to be definitely looking forward to playing the final day of PMPL Qualifiers South Asia region as a YOLO approach and trying to bring as much damage to other opponent teams as much as they possibly can. But will it be enough for them to be able to push on along? And as we talk about pushing on along, we of course do have Paradox finding themselves pretty much in the center, as you were mentioning a couple of minutes ago. Paradox also is a team in the final 2 games yesterday were able to deliver some really good blows to the entirety of the lobby, because the zone favored them, because their rotation favored them, and they were able to get decent elimination points as well as placement points. But is it a bit too late? That is what the conversation for Paradox is going to be. On the other front, for the side of the real soldiers, Killer White T taking on the aggression to the extreme in the 11-minute marker of this game. This is going to be an all-out war. But now, as Ankit mentioned, which side is the zone going to be rotating towards is what we got to see.
Oh yes, I mean the circle after that third shift, there is a high chances that it will be leaving a complete water body, and if that does, I guess hospital, certain compounds of hospital can be still in the zone with Gatka. That being said, DRS finding themselves in the dead smack center. Onto the eastern edges, we still have JyanMaara. Southern side is where NRC are just waiting on the edges. Apart from NRC, I guess each and every team in this small little circle are finding themselves in the safer vicinity. Everyone is just waiting, and as soon as the circle makes a shift, we can get to see everyone just having that vehicular logo onto the face of it. But no.
Wow.
The hard shift goes away. The hard shift goes away. 50% of the total area, I guess more than 50%. Wow, this is a banger with which the day 3 starts off. 7C is aggressing towards the shoreline compounds, and if 7C gets those compounds that is pretty much close to those roads, to those NHS, they have the game. They certainly have the game.
Well, if nothing else, we do know for a fact that if nothing else, 7C is definitely going to be walking out and eyeing out to get those placement points working for their side. On the front, of course, is going to be very close to that position. Paradox's approach as well, where Paradox still having all 4 players alive are going to be spraying quite a lot of lead and damage towards the rotation being showcased from the side of 2RGR, but that does not seem to be working in their favor, even though they were able to, alright, finally, Scrooge definitely was able to bring that player down, and Goldie, along with Scrooge, definitely the spray working in their favor, are going to be able to confirm that first point for themselves in this first game on day number 3, where it is going to be 2RGR's player Rage going down and getting eliminated. So 3 players from the side of 2RGR still remain, but they seem to have entered a wrong arena, because it is going to be Seal9 who have the compound shed out for themselves. And this is not looking good for TRGR, because they are being dropped down like flies from the side of Seal9.
That's not the way you show your back. Should have checked these
Not at all.
compounds. Should have checked these compounds. A complete fault coming in from the sides of 2RGR. And now Seal9 Esports getting a big dent. TRZ at any point, they can just make a push, because they know a fight has just ended out here with still not an end, because Yeta is still surviving. 2RG are still in contention.
Ooh.
Paradox completely looking at different team altogether, with NRC backstabbing TRZ. Multiple fights are just chiming in. We don't have a lot of compounds in these sort of circles. We just have these small little huts with small shacks. We have a big ridge that can come in play. But the Gangsters, it seems like they have something else in the mind. Utsarga has knocked himself with his own grenade. He needs the revival done.
Exactly.
And Kings of BD, that's the pressure. That's the pressure you need to hold. This is the PMPL qualifiers now, ladies and gentlemen. The circle will be, this time I hope, leaves the water completely and comes down finally on the land. I don't really know what
Dude,
sort of
look at
love is there between the circle and the water. But everyone is just fierce to get a lot of finish point racked up in the names.
Absolutely, dude, because again, I mean, it's just 15-minute marker in this game, and we've got so many players and teams getting eliminated right here with 14 teams remaining. I want to draw the attention of the viewers down towards Venom Legends Void, who seem to be at an extreme peninsula all by himself, with no team contesting his location as of now, at least. On the other side, talk about fights that are taking place. Well, fights are taking place left, right and center as of now, because we've got Noob Alliance on our screens who are definitely trying to bring in and reign in supreme against the players of ElementriX. But will it be enough? Because we can clearly see that one of their players has been knocked down and does need a revival. On the other front, in terms of the kill feed, we do have Kings of BD taking on that aggression from the side of Dictator towards the players of the Gangsters.
Seems like grenades are pretty heavily falling onto the face of the Gangsters. Be it with their own grenade, or be it this time the Kings of BDs, the Bangladeshi grenade completely ripping apart these Nepali players. And now the circle shifts away. The peninsula that you just talked about is now out of contention for Venom Legends. Northern side completely jam-packed by 7Cs. And look at that, 7Cs just not allowing anyone. And why should they? It's the reason they made a complete early rotation, and just because of that, they are just waiting anyone to pop themselves into all these water areas and bodies. Blah, blah, blah can just be the one to go down. And 7C have a real good chance. With that being said, 2RGR becomes the second team without any point getting eliminated. And 7C, just count on to numbers, Blodder. We saw Savage Esports had a very good run in the very first match. 7C Esports, I'm having a real strong feeling for them. They can have a big game here.
Absolutely. With that, the two players remaining from the side of Venom Legends are still not yet done. Venom Legends Steel Shot taking on a lot of action, but it is going to be 7C Esports and Fear who will definitely be reigning in supreme, bringing in the third party against the players of Kings of BD as well as Venom Legends, and stealing those defeats away from both of those teams. It is going to be 7C's Fear confirming the elimination point with a Scarl for himself with a level 3 kit, looking pretty confident, the dude in his compound. That's going to be the Fear, bringing in a lot of fear for the side of Kings of BD as well as Venom Legends. Now, Venom Legends, they still do have Void, that one final player who is stuck onto the peninsula, and Steel Shot playing an aggressive stance is going to be resulting to brought down to his knees. But right now, as we talk about teams bringing in that aggressive stance, it is going to be Paradox still bringing in that wonderful play that was showcased from them yesterday in the final two games against the likes of DRS.
Wow.
For incredible turn of chance, and this is what was needed for the side of Paradox to be able to push themselves into the top 16.
Definitely, if DRS here gets the revival done, I guess that can be pretty much done for Paradox. But onto the face of it, throws a grenade from the sides of DRS Gaming Delta. They have 4 finishes into the numbers. It's a 3v3 affair between DRS and Paradox. Whoever wins the fight gets all the compounds, a big chunk of compound. We still have 2 compounds on the backhand side, and the warehouse is just burning. Now the smokes are being deployed for the sides of DRS because they need to patch themselves up. One grenade comes on the face of Rebel, just gets on 20 HP, but still not enough to take him down. WGNRC in the meanwhile takes an exit, but DRS, I guess, they are just waiting for Paradox to make a push, and that's the fear that Paradox has inhibited in DRS mind, and this Paradox is completely looking different. The Molly finally burns down Ego, and I guess that's the opening, that's the cue that DRS was waiting for.
Absolutely, for now that definitely seems to be the case. With the UMP in hand, Scrooge definitely not able to deliver to his mark. Delta has been brought down to his knees, and now it's going to be Rebel who will try and deliver the Goldilocks zone towards the side of Goldie, but not for long, because Goldie, even though he tried to hold on strong, will not be able to deliver the final blow, as Paradox is brought down to their knees with the 4 points that they were able to achieve from this game. A decent fight from the side of Paradox, but DRS definitely reigning in supreme with still 3 players surviving. They are definitely pushing the grounds to be able to go against Savage Esports and get all the way up to the first position on that overall standing.
Blotter, look at Memo. He's using that vehicle to gather a lot of information because he knows there are certain fishes that needs to be caught off, and that can be the potential finish point. Memo just had that vehicle just for once, and he went once at just exact point where Void is still standing. If you look at the map, at the northernmost position, there is one brown marker that is none other than Void from the sides of Venom Legends. He's getting a lot of placement points for his team itself, but it's 7C who knows that these all players needs to be taken care of out of all these lobbies. But in doing so, the circle has made a shift away from themselves, and they should have been ready for this. Seems like they are not for the moment, as now JyanMaara is just trying to backstab them. This hill, this can be dangerous for 7C, because as soon as they try to make a move out of their compounds, and they had to, because Blue will eat them up, and they have to initially do it so, and in that doing so, it can be only one thing, that if they save themselves away from that incoming havoc from the sides of JyanMaara, they can just be saved. But for the moment, DRS Gaming is just not stopping. 8 finish already onto the name, and I guess with these sort of performance that they are pulling off, they can certainly just edge out Savage Esports in the overall chart.
Well, definitely. I mean, with 8 eliminations already confirmed for the side of DRS, they are now pushing on to the compound that has been held on by the side of Noob Alliance, and in doing so, the team has been eliminated. Noob Alliance already going down thanks to DRS's approach, a 3-man approach, a 3-man squad, playing it to perfection and aggression, all down to a strategic place, a SWAT-like performance showcased from the side of the real soldiers, and they still have all 3 players still surviving with 10 elimination points pushing on through. They've got 19 remaining with 23 players alive.
Definitely Void still alive. Eyes are completely set upon, and he was the one. If you remember, everyone was just completely taken off guard from the sides of Venom Legends. Void anyhow survived the Wrath, and he is getting all these important placement points, but nothing to worry about. We have teams coming in from the sides of Mongolia. C9 this time, they are really trying hard. Senor and Zaki still standing with one more player on the backhand side. They are holding the southern edge of the circle. The 1v1 fight goes into the favor of 7C Esports, and Memo just gets 7 total finish point as a whole team. First for his name, and now TRZ's Mad Cat becomes the next victim. Can be the one. Yes, he goes down, but Akku George receives a lot of fire from the sides of Venom Legend. So now Void has started giving out his information. He finishes him off. That leaves down to 7Cs with 3 players, but Void has just bled off in all these blues, and he falls down to play zone.
Oh, what a perfect nade coming in from Orange right here from the side of ElementriX, and indeed it's going to be C-Line who is going to be brought down to their knees. Inky going down low and slow with 2 players still remaining for the side of S9. They are not looking good for this game. We've got Zaki right there trying to push on along against the players of ElementriX, but ElementriX also have a 2-man army, so it's a 2v2 situation between C-Line and ElementriX. But who will be the one reigning in supreme? Because again, every single time we push on along from one camp to the next, it is going to be ElementriX who are definitely pushing on through those nades. But as of now, the information definitely has been retained, but the damage has not been able to be deflected or against the players of S9 as of now. At least we still do have 7 teams remaining in all of this. 7Cs are playing it to perfection. DRS already have 11 elimination points for themselves, so either way they are definitely going to be able to overcome Savage Esports and move on to the first position. And as we do so, the perfect nade parade that was being showcased from the side of ElementriX is going to be able to bring down S9 down to their knees, and it is going to be now one man, Zaki from C9, the only man surviving. He's going to try his level best to push on along, but the final nade is going to confirm it. Along with that, DRS's Rebel is going to nade, or rather not nade, sorry, is going to steal that kill from the side, and of course the point has been delivered towards DRS. And now we've got 5 teams remaining in all of this. Once again, 7C, I mean dude, the way first day was turning out to be for the side of 7C, it was like, all right, they're just working towards placement point. The second day, they were still like, okay, yeah, slowly coming online, slowly just making their plays. But now, on the final day, it's just a completely different team altogether from the side of 7C, where they've got 10 elimination points already with a 3-man army that is still surviving.
The split, the purple marker
split
is
as well,
no other than 7C, and they are looking pretty comfortable with the split. Being that said, 10 finish point for 7C, 12 for DRS, 4 for JyanMaara, just the 5 team. 13 players still left in the lobby. The circle is in a complete favor for 7C, and GSM, he also needs to make a move into the zone. He falls down by the Wrath of the Blues. The kill has been stolen by Soulless. So JyanMaara looking completely a different team altogether. So there is a competition going in between JyanMaara and Gremlin Storm, in which Gremlin Storm needs to win all these fights, because JyanMaara, it's still the team that's still above them, but DRS can just be the one that can just put an end to all these victims that have been playing all around. Delta, Killer, Rebel just going in. All the 3 players are alive. And I guess there can be a truce for next 30 seconds. Just wait for the circle. If the circle goes into the compound where 7Cs and GSM are making and finding themselves into, we might just expect a push coming in from the sides of DRS.
Well, they are out in the open, so that is going to be a little bit of a troublesome push being showcased from the side of DRS, but we'll see if that'll be the case or not. On the other front, talking about Gremlin Storm, a team that is stuck on the 16th spot with only a 2-man army right here, Kapshi and Rafat. They're definitely trying their level best to push in a lot of blows and damage to the teams that are still remaining. So either or, if they get the chicken or not, they are definitely walking away with decent amount of placement points for themselves, along with that one defeat, the one elimination point that has already been confirmed for the side of Gremlin Storm. But on the other front, as you were just so mentioning, DRS, they are in a bit of a sticky situation because they have a 3-man squad, but the smoke wall is all that is supporting them. Along with that, now it seems like Delta is going to be pushing on to try and get the use of that vehicle to be able to get into the comfort of the zone. But will it be enough? Because again, you talk about Gremlin Storm being on the 16th position, they're definitely playing a YOLO approach in the entirety of this game and bringing in a lot of damage. But in doing so, they've given away the information, and it is going to be Rafat who has been brought down to his knees, and 7C pushing on along to take down the domination that 7C has been doing throughout the entirety of the game.
Definitely, the drop shot comes in, but was just not enough. Gremlin Storm kicked out of the lobby. The fight comes down to 3 teams and 8 players alive. A grenade comes pretty close to where JyanMaara Soulless is still positioned, and JyanMaara has been completely ripped by the grenades coming in. An onslaught, the slaughter machine from the sides of DRS Gaming. This can just be the game. The players are in a complete split, and the smoke definitely in whites. But with that being said, they just became too uncautious from the left hand side, and it was Memo that brought the opening from their side. 3 players from the sides of 7C can just be enough. 12 finish already onto the rim, and as soon as the blue hits them up, they will be making a push. 7Cs onto the players of the sides of DRS. Rebel still needs the revival, and it seems that Killer is the one that will be giving the revival done. If one great grenade gets connected, Rebel will be finished off, and with that, Killer has also been brought down to just 20 HP. 7C is completely looking outstandingly different. Just the 5 players, 2 teams alive, with 7Cs having a very big control of this map. It's just the 7Cs who will be taking down. If they take down themselves, they will be getting away from the chicken dinner. Apart from this, I don't see any other reason. And there we have it. The very first game goes into the favor of 7C Esports, a well-deserved chicken. And I told you, brother, in the very first half of the game, as soon as they made a complete hurried push for the compound, I told you that's their game. 21 total points, straight on to the 4th place, and I guess they have now cemented their position for the upcoming PMPL. They were playing so passively unless yesterday. Today, a complete change in strat for 7Cs. They have got themselves a chicken. They have got 16 elimination points, equivalent to 4 squad wipe. But 2,445 damage is what they were able to secure in this match. A well-deserved one for them.
Definitely a well-deserved chicken dinner coming in for the side of 7C Esports indeed, with 16 elimination points. That is a GG approach being showcased from the side of 7C, as so perfectly mentioned by you, Ankit, as well, that, you know, initially when the tournament started off, they were playing very passively, and that is something that the storyboard also confirmed, right? I mean, they had, what, only 20 elimination points and upwards of 60 placement points, and then they move on along on the final day to get a 16 elimination chicken dinner. That is just ludicrous amount of points. That is definitely going to be working in that team's favor, and in doing so, they definitely are going to be solidifying their lead into the top 8. But keep in mind that there are still 4 games remaining. And if yesterday is something to kind of fall back upon, we did have Noob Alliance go all the way into the top 8, and then the rest of the games. I mean, first game was theirs, Noob Alliances. They got the chicken dinner or Erangel, but as they moved on along from second, third, fourth game of yesterday, they were pushed on to the second page. So 7C better be careful. They better be able to just keep on bringing those placement points and those skill points for themselves to be able to just completely rock solidify this wonderful placement that they're at, which is going to be on the 4th position. With that, let's move on along, have a look at the MVP.
Definitely, and we'll get to see who was the hero from this match. None other than Killer White. Was pretty much confirmed anyone from the sides of DRS, because throughout this match they had such sort of influence and effect in this match that this had to be their game. There were some sort of mistakes that were being done in the last half of the game, because if you remember, it was 7C that had to come out of the compound, and DRS were already in a position that they were knowing that someone has to come out of this compound, but it was just the prowess that the 7C showed, and in that, nothing taken away from Killer White from the size of DRS Gaming. He is the hero of this match. 6 elimination, 943 damage, 25 minutes 37 seconds of survival time, 340 healing done, and 5 assists. He was the one that really made a push. He was the one that completely wiped out Noob Alliance, and then after that they made some successive pushes onto a lot of teammates, and it was all in all a very pretty game going in for the sides of DRS. I guess pretty much they were done once the 7C team saw that there are no smokes in the vicinity. There were just 1 to 2 smokes in which the revival was being done, in which rebuild just got finished off, and that was just the invitation for 7C to have a platter of big chicken into their mouth.
Absolutely, mate. With that, along with Killer Whitey, let's find out what other players were there in the top players list coming in from this game, where indeed, I mean, Killer Whitey definitely being the MVP with the 6 eliminations, but very close to him, following along, are going to be 7C's players with Precious and Fear joining into this fray with 7 eliminations, 737 damage. So that talks about Precious's precision play that was showcased from the side of Precious, and along with that, of course, we do have Delta from DRS as well.
It's just the 7C and DRS ruling the chart. 6 for Killer, 7 for Precious, and Precious addition has been really effective one, isn't it? Has been for 7C. Beat with their the way they have actually played. 7C has played it to perfection. But let's just head towards the match ranking, where we get to see the points that have been accumulated from the team. But before that, let's just head towards the match summary. I'm just getting impatient with the thing. But 59 total elimination this match, 60 for total knocks, 5,565 total healing duns, 5 grenades and 306, the longest kill. The elimination goes into the name of Killer Whitey. 14 rescue done, 2 airdrops looted. All in all, the circle was completely favoring the water bodies, but still the healing done has been, I guess, pretty decent one. They didn't get a lot of chance to get the revival done, get the healing done. It was so action-packed match from the starting, where Savage Esports and JyanMaara locked their horns up against on the downside of school areas. But all in all, a very good match summary if we have a look at it on the very first game. But now we have a time to have a look at the match ranking, and we'll get to see what sort of point teams were able to secure with DRS Gaming with total 26 total points, 7C is 31, JyanMaara 16. Wow. So 7C started the day with 80 total points and 31 makes a total of, I guess, 111. The Nelson stands for 7C. If I'm not sure they will be able to trespass JyanMaara or not, those that have started the day with 101 total points. I guess not, only because 101 point and adding this 16 will making 117, still 6 to 7 points shy away. But now 7C, next 4 matches, I guess they will be trying and testing their gun power, because now I guess that pretty much their slot is confirmed for the upcoming PMPL.
Definitely, I mean, it's kind of a play style they are most certainly, ought to be rather, is what I would say, to move on along into the PMPL itself. But we shall confirm that by the end of the day. As of now, what we are going to confirm is the next page on the match ranking, where indeed WGNRC were able to get 3 elimination points, but sadly no placement point whatsoever at all. So 3 points all in total for the side of WGNRC. Same is the case for Venom Legends, Noob Alliance, Kings of BD, and then from there we move on down to Savage Esports, a name that was on the top of the overall ranking, walking away with just 1 elimination point from this game, the first game of the final day. But again, I mean, nothing taken away from Savage Esports as well, because they are pretty much solidifying and confirming their position in the PMPL slots that are to be qualified And along with that, we do also have the overall ranking to talk about, right, Ankit? Because that is the storyboard that is going to be defining the story for the entirety of the 3-day affair that we're part of, where indeed DRS are going to be able to push on along with just 2 chicken dinners. Not 3, just 2 chicken dinners. They have 144 total points. So an amazing performance being showcased from the side of the real soldiers right here. And they are going to be reigning in supreme along with that. As we did just see 7C reigning in supreme with that chicken dinner, finding themselves on the 4th position with, like you said it, 1-1-1 being their total point score.
And they have the highest placement points in all these complete 16 teams, 11 matches being played, and they are the 4th position. And I guess the least finish point, the highest placement point. So that completely sums up. I don't think so. We need to talk much about the playing style. They have been completely consistent with the placement points, and they have been doing so. That's not just the one thing. That's just the one game that they have gotten the 15 placement points. Apart from that, 10, 12, 8, 10. That has been the way. And 36 elimination points. I'm betting you for sure this will be getting to at least 50 or 55 by the way in the next 4 matches. But with that being said, XBROTHERS have slipped down because ElementriX have gotten themselves on the 8th position with 77 total points. XBROTHERS slips down, Gangsters 68. Not a lot of change apart from XBROTHERS, but everyone is just trying real hard. Gremlin Esports still stuck on 14th, Paradox 55, Gremlin Storms 38, 59 for Kings of BD, 63 for RGR Esports. So I'm really rooting for Gangsters to RGR Esports in next game. Just imagine if Gangsters or RGR Esports gets even close to a chicken, because we have 3 teams who have made it to perfection in at least one game in the last 11 matches being played, and that is Noob Alliance, that is the Gangsters, and that is XBROTHERS. What I see by the looks of it, the problem persists with Noob Alliance is that they are not able to play well when the circle goes against them. They need to quickly figure out, I don't really know what needs to be done, but the last 4 matches, and that will be the case for them.
Well. I mean, talk about last 4 matches. Talk about bringing in a little bit of a turmoil approach into the game itself, and that is where I think Gremlin Storm are definitely going to be reigning in supreme, because I mean, they've got 38 points. They are so far away. They're so far away to be part of that top 8 that right now they just need to play that YOLO approach. They just need to definitely push on along whatever team that they feel is their opponent. And along with that, as we move on through, of course, now the next game is going to be Miramar, where things are going to be a little slowed down, of course, because Miramar being a very big map is going to absolutely allow these teams to have a breather, a little bit of a breather is what I would say, because Erangel, I mean, yesterday, day number 2, we did see so many of the games being so very slow, but now it's time to jump into the action on the second game of the day, which is going to be on Miramar, where we shall see which team is going to be reigning in supreme. Yesterday we had XBROTHERS, now we've got the final Miramar of this PMPL qualifier for South Asia region, and the flight path is going to be taking us all the way from west to east, the west to northeast, in fact, I should point out, which is going to be from El Pozo all the way across towards El Hazar. So the Los Leones Impala region, the southern part of the map, basically just completely being left out for these teams. And yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a tough situation for a couple of these teams, because well, so much of the map is not part of their drop location. But Seal Line is like, you know what? We just love it, mate. It does not matter. I mean, this is where we love to go, which is going to be on the top northern part of the map anyways. So just bring it in. Just give us the high five. And that is exactly what Seal Line's approach is going to be. But will it be enough, though? Will it be enough? Because on the overall ranking in the storyboard, they are lacking quite a lot right now.
Oh, definitely. Seal Line pretty much out of not just the fight, out of competition, I would rather say, because now the tournament is on the verge of getting completed down and they are still collapsing, with XBROTHERS moving towards the area of Ladrilla. And this is the same sort of flight path that we witnessed in yesterday's Miramar itself. And the circle completely just went away, saying no to all the flight path. La Cobrera is where Savage Esports find themselves into, but this time northern side is where the circle finds. And Y2 glide towards the area of La Bandita and Los Leones. The circle is already in contention with the JyanMaara pretty close to where Kings of BD are positioned. Torre Humada 2-2 split, two players going towards Torre Humada and 2-2 Campo Militar, and this is the way Kings of BD has been playing. Just pick any extreme corner, left, right, or maybe north, south, east, west, whatever be the extreme case is. I wouldn't be even surprised if they go towards those Los Higos or those small little island that you see on the northern side of Puerto Palacio, if the flight path offers them. But at the end of the day, what matters is the total point, the total thing that gets accumulated and that helps you to qualify. And in that also, Kings of BD has been lacking 59 point. It's not only the case for Kings of BD. XBROTHERS has also been on a lackluster performance with ElementriX just toppling them out of the top 8. Not the correct time to be out of top 8. Right, Blonda? And with that being said, I guess it's water treatment is where we are positioned, with Noob Alliance finding themselves into ElementriX in a big split altogether. TRZ finding themselves into Monte Nuevo, Picado downtown side to RGR. That's the way, that's the look of the total map that we have in front of us. A big split coming in from the sides of DRS. Certain players close to where Cruz del Valle is already positioned, and we can get to see Delta still around the area of San Martin, and we can get to see some shots are being fired from the sides of Noob Alliance. And we are just in the very early half of the game. El Pozo is where Gremlin Storm find themselves into the safe haven. TRZ getting all the vehicles acclimated for themselves, and they will be making us entry into the zone after they just get the loot segregated in the area of Monte Nuevo. XBROTHERS, we know they have been jumping again and again towards the area of Minas, but it's by the looks of it, it seems that we have early casualty from the sides of Noob Alliance. One player has been completely picked off, DRS Gaming. There's just no stopping. There's just no stopping. They're so hungry after just snatching away the total points and the position of Savage Esports. Maybe DRS are just looking for that 200 markup. Isn't that achievable? 144, 200, just 54 shy, 4 matches left on an average. You can get 14 point easy peasy for DRS.
I mean, see, that's where things get so very ludicrously crazy, right, Ankit? I mean, you talk about DRS, and we talk about it like a walk in the park, basically, for DRS to be able to get 40 points in the 4 games that are remaining. And on the other front, the team sitting on the second page of the leaderboard are like, please, just give us those 40 points, please. We want to be able to get those 40 points to be a part of the PMPL qualifier list. That is, of course, going to be the top 8 list. And well, again, I mean, that is the difference that is being showcased in the lobby itself altogether, right? There are teams that are so very aggressive for the likes of DRS and Savage Esports, and of course, the likes of JyanMaara and TRZ, and of course, today we are being introduced to 7 Seas aggression as well. And then there are teams that love to play it so passively that they wait for the zone to be theirs, and then they're able to dominate. For example, the likes of Paradox that we saw from yesterday's 2 final games. And as soon as the zone was in their favor, they were like, all right, we're going to rock solid it on across and get those elimination points as well for their side. And right now, it is going to be ElementriX that are going to be finding themselves in a bit of a tricky pickle situation on the edge of the sword, is what I would say, because they are on the 8th spot and top 8 qualifies. So it is going to be very crucial for ElementriX to play their cards right in this game and to be able to just completely dominate against their opponents to confirm themselves into the qualifier list for PMPL.
Definitely, and if you look at the total average damage that 7C has produced, that's pretty shocking. 811 is something that is not something that needs to be questioned. So I don't really know. They haven't been the part of all these fights, but still 811 is the average total damage. So hats off to them the way they have actually played. And I guess a huge chunk of the total average damage would have been actually come into equation from the last game itself, where they got at least a 16 elimination from that match. So and we got to see that huge amount of 2,000 something damage with their side. But we have Venom Legends also. They just slipped a rank back from 5 to 6, 891 for them. Still more aggressive team by 7C that we have seen by the looks and by what stats suggests. 891 average damage, 48 total elimination, 87 total points. You need to be better consistent. If not, because it was the very first day of very first Miramar, where they got the chicken. Apart from that, they haven't come close to getting even a single chicken. I guess this Miramar, that this can be the time that they can dominate at its peak.
Absolutely, this being the final Miramar that's going to be played right here in PMPL qualifiers, this can very well be the opportunity for the side of Venom Legends to be able to get that chicken dinner confirmed for themselves. But you know what? Another point that I do want to talk about, Ankit, is going to be the team that is, well, again, just introduced to the entirety of the world in the name of Visit with Vibes, right? With the last PMPL season.
Yeah.
And they reigned in supreme. They were just perfect in terms of their approach, in terms of their aggression, coming in from Nepal. I mean, they are just the name to bring out and talk about. And then once PMPL previous season was done, it was like, all right, maybe that was like a one-time action sort of a team Visit with Vibes. But that's not the case, because again, you talk about right here at PMPL qualifiers for the next season, you've got the same squad in the name of the Real Soldiers, and they are still delivering it in style. They're on the top of the leaderboard, on the totem pole, with 145 points, and no matter what you put them up against, they are going to deliver. So that is a real revelation for the side, at least for me at least, because I mean, what an introduction they've had to the entire PUBG Mobile realm altogether, the PUBG universe as I love to call it, because yeah, their introduction has definitely changed the pace of the game altogether, is what I would say.
Definitely, they have certainly lit up the eyes of a lot of organization as well, and a lot of budding players. This is the optimism that we need, a complete jam-packed performance, not only in the past itself, but they have been delivering, as you perfectly mentioned, under the likes of Rebel, Killer, and Malik, Delta, everyone just looking phenomenal from their side. And it's not just the end. They are finding themselves at the topmost position, and I also talked about them just finding to get at least 200 points if in the 16 match, if they're done. That's a great feat if they achieve. And once done, this is the fear that they will be taking as a pride, as a badge of honor when they aggress into the next upcoming PMPL, right?
So true again. And again, I mean, just to reiterate that, as Ankit did just mention, the Real Soldiers, the team, the players were earlier known as Visit with Vibes, and the way they dominated in that entire previous PMPL, that was their introduction to PMPL altogether. And I mean, I had the luxury of having the interview with them once they won it, and they were still so confused and they were not confident enough. But now they seem to be finding themselves in the perfect place, in the perfect strats, and that is what is working for them. You know, they've not let the amplitude of their awesomeness just rectify, or rather push, rather just trouble them, diminish basically, right? I mean, it's just pushing them on forth and just momentumly pushing them forth from one game to the next, and every single game they're part of, they've got a strategy, and that strategy we've seen again and again. I mean, we talk about Sanhok, the circle was working for them. They were just hunkering down on the position that they were at, not over-aggressing till the time that it was required for them to do so. And that again is something that we've seen from the side of 7 Seas. So many people talk about PUBG Mobile as that you have to be so over-aggressive and whatnots, and you have to keep on pushing and being out there in the open. That's not necessary at all. I mean, talk about 7C. You know, I mean, the team in the past 2 days worked on getting those placement points, confirming and solidifying themselves in the top 8, and then after that, they were like, all right, now it's time that we can have a little bit of an aggressive stance. Even if we're not able to get the fight, it's all right, because we do know that we're in the top 8, and that strategy works. It's, I mean, nothing taken against that, right? And that is something that, of course, Savage Esports tried on day number 1, a completely different approach, where they went for the kill-hungry game. But in the next 2 days, it's been a little bit of a hunky-dory kind of a performance from the side of Savage Esports, but nothing taken away from them as well, once again, because we do know that they are definitely going to be able to qualify for PMPL the next season.
That should have been the knock. That should have been the knock. Dante missing out this time again. And if you remember yesterday's, it was Sanhok, where ElementriX 3-player was just having their first aid and their patching up work being done. He was inside the tower. He got one knock, and the spray transfer was so very bad at that point of time that as soon as he did spray transfer, the third player eventually took him down. And this time, the player was again out in the open, not realizing the fact, oblivious of the situation that someone is actually has spotted him down. The crosshair just missing up the mark. Dante needs to get better and better, because this is South Asian lobby. If you miss a mark, you miss a chance. That was a potential one finish point that could have been secured, could have been racked up, but so has been the influence of DRS Gaming. You just cannot stop talking about them. Whatever be the conversation, we can still rob to DRS, but then we have this beautiful looking game going in where we have JyanMaara, we have the Gangsters, and the Gangsters haven't been played to perfection at the utmost level, where we have the slots, the top 8 out of all 16. For all those who have joined in, let me remind you once again, it's the top 8 out of the 16 teams have been battling it out for the last 3 days, and this is the last day, the last 4 match if you include this, and top 8 will be aggressing to PMPL. So a lot of things on the stake. And with that, JyanMaara seems like this time they have something real out of ordinary. They have real approach, they have the strategies, they have their gun gameplay. If we talk about Snipe YT and the way Snipe YT actually handled the aggression of Savage Esports in the last game of Erangel, if you remember, a complete squad wipe out, that was just good. But seems like the circle is completely favoring Kings of BD and the Gangsters on the western side. 7C again having all the ridges. The 2-2 split that you see, 7C, Memo and Fear again, and Akujot, Precious. In the last game itself we saw how Precious was just dominating the lobby, being in the top players list. That was just so good. But Gremlin Storm's getting a lot of banger from different directions. This time it's Paradox from the front. It's already Savage Esports hunkering them down, and if they go anywhere close to where ElementriX are positioned, I see them in a lot of trouble. Gremlin Storm, I guess they are.
Dude, I'm loving the rotation that Venom Legends is showcasing from the northern side of the zone altogether. And talk about the zone altogether itself, right? I mean, this honestly is like the second time. The second time since the past 3 years that I've been part of esports PUBG Mobile. This is the second time that I've seen a zone go all the way up north towards that side. I mean, this is just brilliant on Miramar.
Small little ocean.
Yeah, the Oasis. The Oasis,
Oasis, yes, exactly. Not Ocean, yes, Oasis.
Just perfectly been set up for the side of Venom Legends to be able to jump into the action. But in all of this, when you talk about teams that are out in the open, we definitely do have a lot of them, and they need to get into the comfort of the zone. And as of now, we do have Savage along with Paradox, who seem to be caught out in the open, and it's going to be Hershey with a Score-L approach, bringing in that domination and the lead spray against the players of Paradox. But interestingly enough, even though he had his crosshairs completely set up in stone against the players of Paradox, he was not able to confirm that knock.
Definitely. He just missed all these last few pretty much bullets. Playzone taking down Venom, but Savage Esports, they need to win up this fight. In the last game itself, if you remember, Paradox and Savage Esports went head-to-head, where Paradox really made Savage Esports pay. But finally, Hershey's grenade connects onto G1, and I guess Hershey shouldn't be in any hurry situation, because he needs to realize that Goldie is just behind the smoke, and he's trying to find that angle. Goldie is just trying to trace him down with the help of that grenade. Smokes needs to be deployed. The revival is the case, but from the backhand side, we can still see a pretty teams rotating. So Hershey's again grenade finds one more connection, and complete decimation is where Hershey along with Savage Esports are heading towards.
Wow, I mean, this dude, you know, on day number 1, the first game itself of Erangel, Hershey definitely showcased what Savage Esports is bringing to the table. But right here on Miramar, the utility usage coming in from the side of Hershey with 1 and 2, and then moving on to confirm the elimination point with the nade parade being showcased from the side is just absolutely phenomenal. But in doing all of that, it seems like Scrooge is going to be like, sayonara mate, I'm not going to stick around for long. But seems like literally he's not going to stick around for long, because Hershey is not going to let that happen. 6 elimination points for the side of this dude. The entire team has 7 defeats, and 6 of them are all thanks to Hershey. I mean, yeah, you have to be thankful to have Hershey to be a part of your team. I mean, that's just it. That calls it, mate.
Definitely. It brings so much value to Savage Esports. Without him, I don't see Savage Esports being so savage. With Hershey's.
Oh, now that statement is savage, Ankit. That statement is really savage against the players of Savage Esports.
That has to be there. It has to be there. You need to be in a competition like that. But talking about the circle shift that we get to see on the western side, completely in the Deathmatch center, Kings of BD have a real good position. JyanMaara in a big split. Where is DRS? So now DRS have a big challenge. They have the Gangsters up front, and the eastern side is completely jam-packed with a lot of players in a split situation. So if DRS has to make a move into the circle, they definitely have to take a single or the other or the double fight. And there we have it. Killer YT completely blowing away Noob Alliance's one player buggy or the Dacia through which he was trying to rotate and taking Jimmy down, and that's what it does. DRS just taking the fight after eliminating Noob Alliance a lot of player, I guess. Then they will be completely good to go into the zone. Steel shot taking down Zaki, and from the northern side, the rotation that you talked about for Venom Legend is actually working. But here Fazil was just waiting so patiently. He's just letting go of everyone. But now this is the time that he strikes, and Juna Waiki goes down. He didn't strike till the moment he had all the respect from the sides of Venom Legend.
A really good approach. I mean, being the final player from the side of XBROTHERS, he's playing it to perfection actually. On the other front, talking about the other players coming in from the side of Venom Legends with the UMP approach, steel shot pushing on to the players and the compound of Seal 9 right here. We do have Monkey and Zaki, but how long are they going to be able to survive? Monkey right here just perfectly setting up a nade and cooking it towards the players of Venom Legends, but it seems like the audio queue has been given away and Venom Legends are going to be in a very safe approach. But on the other front, for the side of Seal 9's players, it is not going to be that easy because Venom Legends had a completely different saga altogether where their cooked nade has definitely brought down Monkey, and now Zaki has been brought down to his knees itself. So it's all down to Frypan and Steel Shot to be able to confirm those kill points for themselves, to be able to get those elimination points for themselves. But they're a two-man squad against the one-man army that is going to be from the side of Seal 9. Will they be able to confirm that? On the other front, 7C.
Completely eaten up 7C. They are gone. They are gone in a whisker. DRS Gaming. There's nothing stopping them out of ordinary to beat the game of Erangel. Miramar, game by game, fight by fight. They're just winning everything. DRS, I'm telling you, they are just aiming for that 200 markup.
They definitely are, dude. I mean, you called it, and honestly, I cannot go against it because that is a team that is wanting to prove it to the entire lobby that, hey, we got introduced in the previous PMPL season, so you better not mess with us because here we are back again to prove that exact same worth, and that is exactly what the team of the Real Soldiers squad is doing. On the other front, you talk about Venom Legends, Steel Shot, and Frypan. They are a two-man squad trying to take on the entire lobby and army all by themselves, and they are still not deterred as they take on shots against the players of WGNRC, where Sisti has been brought down to his knees, and it seems like it's going to be really difficult for Zen to be able to give that revival as of now. But one thing that this team of Venom Legends as well as Seal 9 and of course WGNRC need to be careful of is the fact that the zone has sadly walked away from them.
Definitely, and goes into the complete favor of DRS Gaming. JyanMaara also in a big split. Looking good for the moment, and Solos, look at his position. He won't allow Seal 9 player to flourish in the vicinity. With Suzanne and Gunner still in the position, DRS is also the one that can take them down. Western side is where we can see a lot of chaos going in. ElementriX out of it, DRZ out of it, Kings of BD. Savage Esports making a slam in onto the face of the Gangsters. You better be prepared. But in the Dead Smack Center, we have Gunner with Sushti going down. Kings of BD making it real tough for NRC. Venom Legends NRC needs to find at least a way to make a move into the zone. But NRC Doom has some other option, has some other thing in the mind. But NRC and Venom Legend are just going up into the fight. And that was the northern side. But some certain teams that are still out of the zone and they are also taking the fight. We need to add more certain teams into that, and that is of Kings of BD. And now the fight again turns up onto Venom Legends and NRC. It's going to be a deathbed situation for Venom Legends, a very precarious one. NRC, I guess they won't be letting Venom Legends go away, but as soon as I said that, one knock has been brought down.
The final player of Seal 9, Inky, he just definitely is not going to allow the breathing space that WGNRC were hoping for. On the other front, Venom Legends are, interestingly enough, going to be able to make that rotation count for themselves with that one final player still remaining. Going to be able to try and get themselves, with the help of the vehicle, to get in the zone. But on the other front, Savage Esports with Hershey is being brought down to his knees not long before he damages the reputation and ego of course, the Gangsters.
He falls, and he falls so badly. Sanjur hurting himself again. And this so happens every time if you are in the map of Miramar, that you try to connect some shot and the slope actually doesn't favor you, and if you move an inch left or right, you find yourself on the ground just falling. But one good thing is that he gets the revival done, and Hershey, the amount of influence he brings in, he needs to be revived first before Sanchez has been done. But on the face of it, I guess once
14
Hustler
defeats.
goes up, and yes, it's not just about only the domination in the game of Erangel. We have been completely talking about Miramar. It seems like they are also trying to have this game this time.
Well, definitely. Again, I mean, you're talking about Hershey's revival, right? I mean, that dude had already gotten, what, 7 defeats to his team, and now they were at 14 defeats already, 14 elimination points to that team of SA. So it seems like there is a little bit of a rivalry going on between the side of DRS and, of course, well, Savage Esports. So we shall see. Maybe by the end of this game, it is possible. It is just possible that Savage Esports might be able to reclaim the throne in the overall ranking to be on top. But we shall have to wait for that because we still have 7 teams remaining, 19 players alive, and the zone is not helping any of these teams as of now.
Definitely, but we do have JyanMaara and I guess DRS finding themselves in a safe haven of zone. And as we're talking about Seal9, Inky Brock brings one knock onto the face of ElementriX, and this can just be the opening Kings of BD was waiting for. But Sanchez goes down. Kings of BD finding in a position where they just steals out the kill, and this is where Seal9 will be just hurting themselves out. That why aren't we the part of this fight? Why are we so away from all these fights? Kings of BD having a complete control. Sometimes onto Savage Esports, sometimes onto ElementriX. They are just wrecking havoc till now. 4 finish. It's just the 4 finish, but they really do have a good control onto the circle. If they play their cards really well, eliminating a lot of teams and a lot of players, they can have the game. And they need to have it because they are out of the top 8. Bottom position is where they are standing. But Sanhok going down by the explosion that they had from the he had from the vehicle. With just the 7 teams and 8 players alive, Orange just can go down, but he survives the wrath. Dictator is the one trying to dictate all these ridges all together. But we're still down to the 7 teams, 17 players still alive. Mahfouz, YT going down. Dictator is still just scouting out around all these areas, just making sure that he doesn't get any backstab from ElementriX from this side.
Absolutely. With that, we've got Seal9 being eliminated on that 7th spot. 6 teams remaining. Hershey was brought down to his knees thanks to the Real Soldiers Killer YT. But now it seems like he has been given the revival thanks to Sancher, and they still remain a 3-man squad. But as we can clearly see, DRS and Savage Esports, the teams that are on the top of the totem pole right now, the storyboard right now, they are so very close to each other, and nobody could have predicted this sort of a game on Miramar as of now, this sort of a zone as of now, because we've finally moved on down to, well, just 4 teams remaining. Eliminated on the 5th spot is going to be ElementriX with just a 3-man army. So we've got 4 teams remaining. We've got Kings of BD with a 2-man squad. We've got DRS with a 3-man squad. We've got JyanMaara with a 3-man squad. And we also do have Savage Esports with a 3-man squad.
JyanMaara pushes up onto Kings of BD, and that's the moment that they realize it's just the Mahfouz YT, 1 man left alive, but they need to make sure that Gunner needs to be revived in order to win this match. And in this PUBG game, you need to have that numbers advantage, and that's something with which DRS are coming in. I guess it's still 3 players alive from their side, but Hustler has been completely finished off. DRS Gaming, the moment we say someone is high up with the number falls short. DRS Gaming, they are just coming up with Delta with that buggy in his position. Looking pretty ferocious. They have gotten the height advantage, but certainly zone has shifted away from them. With Kings of BD getting eliminated, JyanMaara can just go down if at this point DRS decides to make a push onto them. But the distance is still pretty far away, and there is a dip between both these ridges. And if DRS does that small one little mistake, it's still Sancher that can put a big blot onto the face of both these teams. So Sancher, 1 player between both these teams. I guess it's a 3v2v1 affair between these players.
Absolutely, mate. With, again, I mean, you talk about DRS, 11 elimination points already confirmed from the side of DRS. This is looking really phenomenal for their side. On the other front, again, the numbers advantage is where we bring the conversation down towards, where we do have JyanMaara and DRS working in favor in tandem with a 3v3 situation. On the other front, we do have 1-man army in the name of Sunshare coming in with the side of Savage Esports. So a little bit of a tricky situation for Savage as well as DRS, because if you talk about JyanMaara and their approach to this entire final fight, right? I mean, look at that perfect level 3 kit that Gunner has right now. Susan also looking pretty comfortable because he's got no damage on his helmet whatsoever at all. And the best of all is the fact that their positioning Their positioning is on top of a hill. And now, as you were mentioning, a 3v3 situation between DRS and JyanMaara could maybe go against DRS, but we shall have to see.
Definitely, that can be the case because the numbers have dwindled down. They just need to even the numbers up, and if that has to happen, JyanMaara Esports, one player at least needs to be taken down, but rotations are being made. Suzanne is just inching towards where Rebel is positioned, and this is certainly not looking good for Killer White. He tries to go into his 1v1 fight. UMP, the current meta against AKM in the hand of Suzanne, just the 30 bullet. He needs to have that extended mag coming up, but as soon as he pops out his head, he can just find two players out of all sudden. One grenade can just do the business. One grenade can just do the business, and there we have it. JyanMaara Esports has completely fallen down, but no, the knock has been brought down. I guess that's the moment. The numbers even Steven has been done. If the player just does one revival done, that can certainly be the case, but I guess the Rebels healing sound has already been heard. JyanMaara, realizing the situation, has completely outplayed out here DRS Gaming. Earlier they were looking strong with their split, but the way JyanMaara approached in the last 15 seconds, that was just enough to outplay DRS. Third position is where they stand with total 24 points, 2047 damage. And I guess, Blotter, you are amazed too by the gameplay that JyanMaara did execute it in the last 10-15 seconds.
Definitely, dude. I mean, this was just absolutely bonkers. The amount of mind game that was played from the side of JyanMaara's players, that was ludicrous. I definitely did not anticipate something like that. But hey, yo, here we go. We've got JyanMaara Esports jumping all the way onto the overall ranking with the third spot to their name and looking really, really good. So again, I mean, we do know first two places are DRS and Savage, but JyanMaara making a real good struggle push from their side.
Definitely, and for a moment it seemed like JyanMaara just not liking themselves in a fight and they're just not engaging themselves, but as soon as they just realize that it's the position and we have already engulfed DRS player, there's no way we are going to be losing out this fight. They just went in and thrashed so badly that DRS just got converted into the crate. With that being said, we are just heading towards the most valuable player from this match, and we'll get to see who was the hero. We have gotten to see a lot of players from the sides of JyanMaara. Is this the time from the sides of JyanMaara? No, this is Hershey again from the sides of Savage Esports. 12 elimination, that's equivalent to a 4-3 team. 1640 damage, 23 minutes of survival time, 2 assists done. And I guess Savage Esports are not so savage if you take out Hershey.
That is true, mate. I mean, that is so very true. And you were so very well on point, right? I mean, when you spoke about Hershey being the man who makes it important for Savage Esports to be where they're at, right? I mean, you pointed it out during the cast as well that if there were no Hershey, there would be no Savage Esports, which was a savage moment actually to be talking about, but it is true. I mean, looking at it, 12 eliminations, the first ever game of PMPL qualifiers, the dude had 9 eliminations. He is a one-man army, a one-man squad. He's a tank. Yep.
He's a tank. He's a tank who just ranks up his numbers. A Dictator getting 5, Sanchir with 2. But with that being said, let's just head toward the match summary. 7,815 healing done, 58 total elimination, 61 total knock, 8 grenade elimination, and I guess out of which half was secured by Hershey. If you remember, they just completely outplayed Paradox.
Definitely. Absolutely, completely agreed with that. Along with that, the highest number of rescued coming in onto this game as well with 19. As we move on through to the match ranking, we've got Savage Esports up on top. All thanks to Hershey once again with 15 eliminations. Not their highest, of course, because they've got 26 eliminations. So 15 is like a walk in the park for them. But they've got 25 total points. So definitely working in their favor and their pride and their stride as they move on to, of course, dominate that overall ranking. But of course, JyanMaara Esports is the team that walked away with the chicken dinner. As we move on to the second page of the leaderboard, Noob Alliance not looking good. I mean, yesterday, first game, they had the chicken dinner, but since then, they've been dropping again and again and again and again after one game to the next. And today also, the same exact strat as being showcased from the side of Noob Alliance. So being in the top 8 is looking very, very difficult for this team.
Let's say it another way. I won't be too harsh if I say. I guess it's curtains for Gremlin Storms or maybe Noob Alliance. Before this match started, Gremlin Storm 38. No point from this match, whatever be the case. And once we head to a zonal
Gremlin
ranking,
Storm,
we'll get to see
they're done.
what sort of performance they might just put up. Yes, they have done in certain matches in patchy performance, but that patches has just been the patches.
What I mean to say is that Gremlin Storm is done. There is no
All
way
right,
they can
yes.
make a comeback into the top 8.
No,
I mean, I was
definitely.
hoping that Noob Alliance, again, as we'll move on to the second page, we'll see, right? I mean, Noob Alliance, they got a chicken dinner. For God's sake, they got a chicken dinner in the first game of Erangel yesterday. And then, since then, in fact, they've just been dropping like flies. So, it is looking very difficult for their side. But yeah, Gremlin Storm, I don't think that's going to be possible for them. But anyways, on the 8th spot, we did have WGNRC with 88 points. And then, on the 9th spot is... with 79 points, XBROTHERS. So, big push is required from these teams now that are sitting from the 9th to the 14th, 13th spot.
Definitely. But just the 8-point difference between XBROTHERS and where NRC are still positioned.
True.
And when we were casting, if you remember, National Championship for Bangladesh, that was the same sort of performance that XBROTHERS were actually inhibiting. But Gangsters 70, 72 Kings of BD still in contention. I would still not take away Gangsters. A lot of teams in the same vicinity need to also bring about XBROTHERS and 2 RGR. But I guess 3 game, because 2 has been done, the starting Erangel and just finished Miramar. Is it going to be enough? Because one wrong peak, one wrong movement is going to be completely pulverizing you out. Gremlin Storm? So they started things pretty badly and seems like the curve is also getting down so badly. They had some pretty good performance, but that patches hasn't been filled with those consistency that has been certainly lacking. That's not only just about Gremlin Storms. Paradox also, Seal 9 under the lights of Inky, Munka and Senor, Zaki. Seal 9 has been not the Seal 9 that we have seen in the PMPL, sadly.
Definitely, mate. That is so very true indeed. And that is something that is definitely going to be haunting quite a lot of the followers of Seal 9 altogether itself, because the playstyle that they're bringing in is just not working for their favor. But nevertheless, we've got 2 games done, 3 games more remain. But before we jump into that, it is time to go on a short little break. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Welcome back, folks, to the last 3 games at the last day of the PMPL South Asia Qualifiers 2022. I'm going to be host Ankit, and joining alongside me is going to be none other than Blotter Gaming. And you've seen us cast over the course of this last 12 matches and what a start it has been for all these teams. But let's just have a quick look at the schedule for the day and just get started with the next game of Erangel. But before that, we had 7Cs, we had JyanMaara getting chicken for themselves, but the call from the producer has already been made. Let's jump straight away into this second last Erangel of this qualifiers, because we still have one Erangel left in the last game of the day. Flight path this time again coming from the northern side. Shooting range is where we starts off, and eastern side completely left open. We still haven't any single flight path, Blotter, where each and every team in this lobby, all the 16 teams, will be happy after seeing this flight path. There might be 5 to 6 teams actually banking and crying somewhere on the edge of this corner, and there we have it. Kings of BD again jumping on the extreme corner of Zarki.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen them do this again and again, right? I mean, Zarki is the known position for the side of Kings of VD. On the other front, as we move on through, we've got Severny taken over by the side of the real, well, the gangsters, basically. The real soldiers on the other front are going to be, chiming in along in a few minutes, because right now they are definitely reigning in supreme in this lobby. But what sort of an answer is Savage going to be bringing in? Because if we move on to the team in the grey parachutes, that is a team that is in Savage, and that is a team that loves to go down towards Yasnaya. So we'll have to see what sort of a play is that team going to be making on the other front. As we move on down towards the western front, we've got the side of course, Paradox. But I was just looking at the mini screen right here.
Definitely.
We've got JyanMaara as well as XBROTHERS. You know, very colorful parachutes coming in from the side of the JyanMaara side, and XBROTHERS also dropping into the vicinity of the same. And with that, we've got the zone on our screens. That's going to be towards the eastern front, where Milta and Farm are going to be the center. So as of now, it definitely can be anybody's game, because the flight path was so far away from the zone center altogether.
Definitely, and I was really surprised why Seal didn't jump onto the area of Georgiapol. Maybe they just knew that this is going to be their circle, and by the looks of it, seems like in their vicinity, Seal 9's vicinity, we have DRS and also one parachute in the frame. But let's just head towards the fight that is erupting in the area of Rozok. Fazal has the AKM, XBROTHERS seems like they are being better equipped. Soulless has just one small little pistol. And look at the audacity! Look at the audacity!
Come on!
He needs to be in the army. He needs to be in the army. He needs to be in the army. He takes bullet on his chest. That's for sure.
That is so true. That is so true indeed. But sad, dude, because I was rooting for the P1911 to be able to, you know, get that perfect head-cracking shot. But
I haven't seen, to be very honest. Sorry for cutting you off.
It doesn't happen that often, you know. I mean, okay, all right, let me be very blunt about it. I've seen Chaco Taco do that quite a lot, many a time. So I was like, maybe that can be recreated. Because again, you're talking about JyanMaara and XBROTHERS, but hey, that's not going to be the case. Where Soulless, again, one of the dudes who was in the high fragging list, basically, right? I mean, Soulless is the man who was in the high fragging list. But on the other front, we've got DRS of all the teams. DRS in the initial few moments of the game altogether itself, one of their teammates has been brought down to the knees. Thankfully, boom, Delta has been given revival, but not for long, because Killer YT will also go down with them thanks to a perfectly set up nade from the side of Noob Alliance. And that is going to be probably the end of DRS. I mean, it's very, very difficult to come back from that situation. But then again, we'll see if that'll be the case or not, because it is DRS after all that we're talking about.
The Sri Lankan aggression this time paving things back, and yes, there we have it. 15 teams confirming. That means DRS Gaming has been eliminated.
What?
A big punch. Is this the comeback that we were anticipating from the sides of Noob Alliance, eating up the team who is at the top, at the apex? There we have it, and now we have a complete city named Milta.
That is incredible. I mean, Noob Alliance, what a show of power. In the first 4 minutes, they've been able to completely decimate the entirety of DRS. So unexpected altogether,
Wow.
absolutely. But of course, a GG play being showcased and nothing taken away from the Sri Lankan team, because again, they did get a chicken dinner yesterday as well with 11 eliminations, mind you, right? So, and that was on Erangel as well. So it is definitely possible. But one thing I do want to point out, which is something that you actually did mention, DRS's approach to how they dropped in this game. They went down to the military base. That's a first for them, right?
So what I think, when what it looks by the face of it, I mean, they really tried to have all these vehicles aligned for themselves, because there were no way they could have either even if they could have extended their parachute for a long, that the distance was way too much for them. So all they tried was to have the vehicle going in for them. But
Makes sense.
little did they know that there was a team from Sri Lanka named as Noob Alliance that will completely eat them off. And Jimmy's spray, with the help of the barrel, the way he just tried to take everyone down, and finally the grenade making a connection. DRS was giving no chance and no respect, whatever be the case. And that is what
True.
we like all these teams. Whichever be the team, whoever be one, this time it was complete 100 out of 100 credit needs to be given to Noob Alliance, the way they actually tried to do so. And here we have it, the Gangsters on our TV screen, just trying to flat out the one tire, just to have the vehicular movement be too smooth for them. I hope this helps them climb the top chart.
Interesting approach from the side of the Gangsters right there, as we did see. I mean, if I had a McLaren, I would never blow the tires, mate. I mean, honestly. But that's the approach that the dudes from the Gangsters, again, I mean, that's a gangster approach, you know.
But that's
I mean,
the beauty of the game. I mean, you just get into the car, and that natural skin turns out to be the McLaren. So if you have 50 cars in this lobby, you can turn each and every 50 car into McLaren, and that's not something that can happen in real. I guess that answers the question.
Well, that's true as well. But then again, dude, I mean, even if it were possible, alright? Even if it were possible, even if whatever car IRL I could sit in and turn into a McLaren, I would not get out of my vehicle and blow out the tires. I mean, if I'm on Miramar, alright, then I'm okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But apart from that, don't know. I don't know if that would count as my to-do list, basically. But on the other front, as we move on through into the game altogether itself, we do have the wonderful zone where we still have quite a chunk of military base still part of the zone. So what do you think, Ankit? Maybe we're moving down towards Milta Power, or the hard shift could be down south?
The chances are pretty less for the latter one that you said, that, but yes, 90% chances are there that Milta and Milta Power, maybe also again some sort of hard shift can still go towards on the downtown toward the side of Shelter. But still have the real suspicion going in my mind that if Noob Alliance went that fast towards the area and they were in a position that they can still camp that Novorubnoy bridge, where were DRS lacking by that time? That's the question. True. If Noob Alliance are able to glide towards the area, and they were sitting pretty comfortably, they were just camping the situation, two players were already positioned, and that is not something that happens out of anything. That is something that was trained, that was did to perfection, and it seemed like they had ample amount of time just to wait for DRS to come in. I don't really know where did they lack.
I think DRS were just chilling along. But with that, move on from that conversation to WGNRC. All four players completely aggressing against the rotation from G1 from Paradox, blowing up his vehicle, definitely getting that elimination is going to be Amar right here. But of course, the contribution from all the four players coming in from NRC, and indeed in doing so, where exactly are the other players from Paradox is what I'm wondering, because the rotation that was being showcased from the side of G1, that was just one solo player making this long leg rotation. Where are the other ones? Not entirely sure. Don't definitely see them on the minimap as well, but that's a good thing for the side of NRC. And as soon as I point that out, thanks to our director, we do have players of Paradox, and it seems like G1 was definitely just out scouting, and the teammates are just sticking around back towards Pochinki as of now.
No, definitely. And a hard shift going on to northern side. From school to farm, a complete barren and open position. I'm still surprised no one has opted and contested for Potato Hill. And that's a position where, if you remember, yesterday 7C was pretty much interested. but they are not on the same area. They are now finding themselves on the shorelines. Farm is where Venom Legends is might expecting the circle to come in, and look at that. Look at that. Noob Alliance again hungry for all these finish points. There is still 8 players still that can come from either Novorupnoy or military base, and that can be the potential finish point. If Seal Esports haven't realized the situation, and time and again we have said this, Seal and Esports need to take this bridge, need to take this one, but this time if they go from this Novorupnoy bridge, they need to be better prepared, because there's someone, not someone, there's a complete squad waiting for them to eat them alive.
Absolutely is. And on the other front, you talk about 7C Esports as well as Savage Esports, who are completely dominating against the players of the Gangsters, where blah 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 was the first plan to go down from the side of the Gangsters, and now it seems like the other players are also looking up in the fray, where Gangsta has been brought down to his knees and will be eliminated thanks to Sancheer, and now the Gangsters are brought down to a 2-man squad where Savage Esports were able to get the 2 elimination points for themselves. So an incredible turn of events for the side of Savage, but again, this is just the start of their elimination streak. If they go down to the shelter, we can see Suzanne from the side of JyanMaara being very low-key, slow down into the shelter, but it seems like Savage Esports are not really interested in going down, so maybe that elimination point will not be theirs.
Do they even know? That's the question.
Exactly.
But more big question is that what is Suzanne actually doing, because we don't see any JyanMaara's player out there. Maybe, I guess, the Gangsters made a push onto JyanMaara, and JyanMaara not realizing the fact that it's someone known as Savage Esports that can just be coming on from the backhand side, and the Gangsters losing a lot of players again in the very first half of the game. It's just the 11th minute. And they should have preempted that. Yes, 11 minute is the time, and with the sort of circle that we have for the moment, teams and players will be coming in. But C9 Esports just camping the situation for Gremlin Storms, taking out Sick Fly, and I guess he's now in the heaven, pretty comfortable. C9 Esports still waiting. Maybe they just know, they're just spotting out the players. Evil Eye needs to have some different route. But I would love to see, and would really beg the observers and producers to let us see again that map that is still Noob Alliance waiting on the other end of this bridge or not. But look at the aggression with which C9 Senior has gone down towards that side. A complete trap that has been set up for Gremlin Storm. But do they know that their trap is again been set up on the other half of the bridge by the sides of Noob Alliance from the Sri Lankan team?
Well, for now, again, we're 12 minutes in, 15 teams still alive. We had the first 4 minutes. That is all the action that was, because DRS was the team that was being eliminated in the first 4 minutes itself. And now it seems like, wow, Mehfooz Whitey from the side of Kings of BD has been able to pincer down the rotation and movement from the side of Savage. But again, the elimination point has not yet been confirmed. And with that, it seems like Shelter region is where the zone is going to be pushing on down towards, where XBROTHERS find themselves in the center, if I'm not mistaken. There's Kings of BD, as well as, of course, Savage and JyanMaara right close to each other. So for now, it is going to be a conversation about how Savage approaches that position from Shelter to take on the fight, even though they have one of their player that's going to be the most valuable player, Hershey, from the side of Savage, who's been brought down to his knees on the other front. As we talk about rotations, let's have a look on down towards the south. They've got Seal9, who is now finally using the Novorupnoy bridge to get across, and right next to them is, of course, going to be Gremlin Storm as well in the pink, making a water rotation. So that team better be careful.
Definitely. But out in the open, we have Kings of BD just trying to trace out the players of Savage Esports under heavy cover fire, is where we expect Savage Esports to be in next few minutes, because there are a lot of teams that are actually trying to make a rotation from that position. With Kings of BD just having PP Bison with 6 equipped to it. That was the 3x, I guess. But whatever be the scope, the speed with which 9mm travels is pretty low to what PP Bison and the player can expect to have in. So not the best of the best loot that Kings of BD have in the favor, but the Shelter seems like it's where they're finding themselves at the position. Hustler just finding himself in a position to actually take out the fight. I guess now the sole player from the sides of JyanMaara has escaped out this death. But the trap that was earlier set up by Noob Alliance has been completely flown away. With 2 RGR out in the open, Kings of BD are just trying to make a move with, again, Paradox looking clueless. I hope they do something before this all 2 matches end up.
Well. I mean, this is the third game of the day. We've got 2 more games remaining. Sanhok and Erangel after this one is done. But as of now, Paradox, yeah, it is a bit of a paradoxical situation that they find themselves in. Into the second page of the leaderboard altogether with the 14th spot, I think, is theirs. Yeah, not looking too good. Definitely not looking too good for this upcoming PMPL season. But on the other front, as we talk about Savage Esports, dude, what is this team going to be bringing to the table is what I'm waiting to see. M24 right in the action right here with Ligro. Along with that, we do have Hershey. I mean, all of these players, they are getting comfortable in down towards the shelter region because that is exactly where the center of the zone is. But right now, it's Seal9 making a rotation and making a push against the players of JyanMaara.
I guess Inky was already in the compound and no, this is not the way. You should have actually checked.
Come on. Disastrous. Again. JyanMaara completely stopping Seal9 and their rotation in the tracks, and it seems like that is going to be the end of Seal9. Yep, there it is. 15th spot with 1 elimination confirmed for the side of Seal9. That is a bye-bye to go for the side of Seal9. Sadly, it seems like this time around, Seal9 will definitely not be seen in PMPL season. But on the other front, we've got the likes of Savage, we've got the likes of JyanMaara, and look at that zone. We've got Savage Esports smack in the center. We've got Kings of BD smack in the center. And they have the comfort of the compound working for them as well.
I don't have words. I'm out of words for Seal9. What are they doing? What are they trying to do is something they really need to look at. With Paradox again out in the open. NRC this time, boom, goes down. With Scrooge taking him down, and the finish has already been secured. Srishti again running down the vehicle onto Madcat, but all of a sudden Paradox also looked pretty terrified. 2 knocks has already been made, and 2 RGR. If this is the moment, they are going to be taking everyone down, and yes, there we have it, a complete squad wipeout for Paradox 2. These 2 teams, man oh man, Paradox and Seal9. What do we need to say about them?
Well, definitely not in the same breath.
Nothing. Out in the open, they're just loitering around, even if they are making a push. But with something, we have something hopeful. We have a lot of optimism coming in from the side of 2 RGR Esports. In the last game itself, they really racked up a lot of numbers for themselves. And this Erangel, they're looking pretty good. 2 finish already onto the name. With Rana going down, we have still Yeta, Kazi and Ryu going into the number. If they play their cards really well, this can really be the game. And if you remember, Blotter, this was a team that really got 1 chicken in the number. And if they get anywhere close to that 22-25 points, I'm damn sure that they can still be in the top 5 somewhere down the line.
Ooh,
not top
Memo
5,
was
top 8,
so
actually.
close. Dude, Precious was so close. Oh, come on. They have to stop Steel Shot in his tracks. They were so close to bringing him down and just completely running him over. But it seems like that's not going to be the case because Venom are definitely going to be holding on strong, where Nightwing was definitely run on over from the side of 7C. But on the other front, we still do have 2 players remaining from the side of Venom Legends. That's going to be Prepan and Void. And 7C are going to be making quite a lot of ruckus right here in the smoke, where they did accumulate decent amount of elimination points. And now they're out in the open, out on the run. And this is where things can get really, really tricky for them. We've got 12 teams remaining, 37 players alive. But the zone, we're on down to the 4th zone, 18 minutes into the game. This is not going to be easy task for the teams that find themselves in the open because there are going to be so many third parties that are possible. With this being the 13th match, in total 15 matches are going to be played. That means 2 matches remain, and well, the top 8. The top 8 is where Venom Legends wants to find themselves in. 7Cs has found themselves, but is it a bit too late for Venom? Well, they're right on the precipice, you know. They're right on the precipice. I mean, good game, they stick there. Not good game, and they drop down.
Definitely. Because they haven't created that cushion. That even if you are not having 1 or 2 game off downside, that does happen. That does happen. The randomness, the zone, the anonymity of the team's rotation, that can certainly be the case. But Gremlin Storm have been completely wiped out. The onslaught coming in from the side of 7Cs, thanks to them. But now Venom Legends just waiting for them. Fivepan is finding himself into this small little shack. The circle tilts away from all these teams. Kings of BD again and again. Last game itself, they really had those circles working in the favor. Kings of BD, this is the time where they can have it for themselves. onto the western side. The eastern side is completely empty. TRZ are just making a good rotation, and if they find themselves into all these positions, they can have a good time out there.
Look at Noob. I mean, Noob Alliance is also making a really good rotation from the eastern side, going all the way down towards the rotation and the location of TRZ. But they best be careful, because as soon as they drop onto that compound, TRZ is going to be well equipped and prepped with the comfort of the zone and the compound itself to be able to completely decimate that push that has been showcased. And that's exactly what's happening, sadly, against the players of Noob, where Lucifer is going down, as you can see in the kill feed on the other front. On our screens, we do have Sanchir from the side of Savage Esports. Finally, these guys are making it rain again against the players of XBROTHERS, jumping away from the comfort of shelter. They are out in the open now, but they are in the comfort of the zone.
They are definitely. With just 11 teams still alive, the grenade comes in, and the rotation that you were talking about has been completely pinched down. Noob Alliance on the verge of getting eliminated. TRZ have made it real worse for them. 2 players going down, and Mama is getting the revival done. I'm completely pumped up. If all these fights goes in, Noob Alliance was the one that was really trying to make a comeback. This was the game for 2RGR and Noob Alliance, and in that, out of nowhere, TRZ comes in, hi, hello, and says them, and seems like it's the time to goodbye to them. Yes, that's definitely there we go. One more grenade. Wow. This is not looking good for Noob Alliance. Just the throwables out to perfection. The information all these players have brought down. Mad Cat was the one that just peeped in from that window and transferred that information to Mamba. Everyone is just looking so good. And far away, Venom Legends and Frypan are also going up into the fight.
Wow.
There we have it. A complete grenade wipeout. No bullets wasted, and I guess they are getting completely eco-friendly out there.
Dude, that was the most green fight that I've seen. The most eco-friendly fight that I've seen. I mean, no bullets wasted, as he said, no lead being wasted whatsoever at all. All based on the lead and the shrapnel coming in away from that grenade, and that is where TRC completely reigned in supreme against the rotation of, well, Noob Alliance. On the other front, we've got 8 teams remaining, and it seems like JyanMaara as well as EX are completely pinching down the rotation being made from the side of Savage Esports. So definitely not looking too good, but dude, I have to bring this up. Savage Esports, they tried their level best in this game, but the one team that needs to really be spoken out about is going to be 7C. This final day, the way 7C is playing, I mean, we started the day off, we were looking at it, they had what, 20, 25 maximum elimination points, 60 placement points, and now it seems like they're on a completely different exit altogether.
Definitely, I really feel sad here for Savage Esports. The entry has been blocked, and the now entry has been completely pushed by grenade from the backhand side. Gangsters were coming in. Savage Esports tried really best. But coming back to the conversation that you were talking about 7C's Esports, so if you have that proverb going into the mine, you test the water. This is the best example. The very first 2 days, every single rotation was being noted down by 7C Esports, and today, not by fluke, this is something that 7C is bringing again and again in the last 3 games itself on the table, that they're getting a lot of finish point. This time 8 for now, and they have a good control of the zone. Now ElementriX just trying to get a lot of vehicles to just jam that opening, so that Gangsters just pathetically don't come out of that. 7C Esports still have 3 players alive, 2 for Akujot. Can he convert into 3 and make it 9 for 7C Esports? We have to still wait for that.
Well, I'm definitely sure that 7C have definitely solidified their position in the top 8. There's no stopping them. But right here, exactly where Savage Esports were completely pinched down, it is seemingly looking like ElementriX are going to be pushing on along to take on the Gangsters. And yes, as my word was brought on along, ElementriX is completely going to be pinching down with the 100-led approach with the M249. That team of the Gangsters are no more gangster in the shelter, because they have been eliminated. We've got down 6 teams remaining. JyanMaara down to 1-man army in the name of Susan.
Susan did almost 1v2 in this situation because
It seemed like, yeah.
while we were stuck in a fight and discussing about the rest of the teammates, I guess we just missed a splendid fight coming in from the sides of JyanMaara Esports, because if you remember, TRZ Esports 3 player were holding all those areas onto the sides of Mansion, and as soon as TRZ tried to make a push around this shack area, smokes was being already deployed. Suzanne took everyone down and completely eaten up TRZ Esports. And now, with that being said, we still have 4 teams in the lobby with 3 players still surviving from the sides of 7 Cs. Kings of BD, just because the numbers advantage and the zone is favoring them till the circle makes a shift, the next one is going to be a typical one. Onto the edge of the circle, we have 2 teams, just the 3 in the lobby with 9 players still alive. I'm just waiting where the circle goes, and goes in the favor of Kings of BD.
Well, we've got 3 teams remaining. 7C looking really good, and they're in control of the entire fight because they've got the information against the players of ElementriX. On the other front is going to be, well, the forecast, which is going to be in the favor of Kings of BD because they've got all 4 players alive, and in doing so, Mehfooz YT along with his teammate Vexy are going to be spraying down their opponents, and those are the team in ElementriX. I mean, not looking too good for ElementriX because the smoke wall that they've created, and with just that one tree to help them in their cause, is not going to be able to favor them. But in all of this, we still have to talk about 7C because 7C, they have a lot of elimination points working in the favor for themselves, and even if Kings of BD are able to get the chicken dinner for themselves in the name of the numbers advantage, the points could very well be favoring 7C. But it seems like, yep, like I said, at Kings of BD, Vexy bringing down the rotation being showcased from the side of 7C, and as of now, Mehfooz YT has definitely pushed on along. One final player remaining from the side of course, ElementriX is going to be Cubist, but that's not it.
That's so silly of you. That's so silly of you. Kings of BD really losing. I really don't know why Mehfooz just went there with no smoke and no cover fire from different direction. I guess he really relied on the Vixie's cover fire, but that was just not enough. With now 3v2 situation, this is still looking good. Pretty optimistic for Kings of BD until and unless 7C does something out of ordinary, because Precious, as soon as Mehfooz gets the revival done, the circle is in the favor of Kings of BD. There is a small little drop. There are a lot of smokes in their favor. It will just be the complete wipeout going around for Kings of BD. And the grenades are also being lobbed up. There is a car in front of him, still not being visible. And yes, that invited a grenade onto the face of it. Pretty easy peasy for them. This just leaves down to 1 Akku Jot. That means Kings of BD are just inches close away from winning this fight.
Absolutely are. I mean, you talk about the play that was being showcased from the side of this team. They are definitely rolling it across, and they are looking pretty good doing it. Akujot, the one final player, is definitely not going to be allowed to reign in supreme against the 4-man army of the team of course, well, Kings of BD. And in doing so, it is going to be Kings of BD taking that chicken dinner with 7 eliminations. And
who goes down?
Incredible control. And of course, the entirety of it, again, they were part of so many amazing fights. I mean, look at the total damage they were part of it. 2072 damage, but only 7 eliminations. So that means they were part of some incredible fights, not able to completely get the elimination points from them. But either ways, it does not matter, because overall ranking states that they are in the top 8. Let's just hope that they're able to push on along in that top 8, stick to that 7th position, and maybe move on across in this PMPL qualifier.
So now they are 7th position. Who goes out? That's the question. They are at 7th, so 8th, still one out there. And before this match started, NRC, if you remember, were on 8th position. And since NRC didn't have a real good game this time, so maybe I'm expecting that that might be the case. And with ElementriX shifting to 8th position, now 7th being grabbed by Kings of BD. So now still, if you are having not the point difference so much between 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th, still a chicken dinner is granting you the top 7 and top 8 position. And this is the last day, just 2 more games left.
Yep, just 2 more games left. That is so very true. I mean, 7C, JyanMaara, Kings of BD, very new names coming in once again on the final day of course, South Asia Qualifier right here at PMPL Qualifiers. And that is something that just states basically that these teams every single match that they play, they go back to it and they try and figure out exactly what the opponent is doing. And that is why we are looking at every single game a different approach being showcased from the teams, as we've got different chicken dinner winner teams. With that, let's move on and have a look at the most valuable player coming in from this game.
Definitely, as Incas from ElementriX, 4 elimination, 919 damage, and 24 minute 20 seconds of survival time, 2 assists done, 364. And ElementriX, they really tried hard till the last moment. We just got to see, until and unless it was 7C that was just hounding it from different directions. Till then, Incas was looking pretty strong. He was holding the strong. It was just the height position that 7C were into. But as soon as that circle tilted away, that height was even not enough for them to get close towards where they actually wanted to be in. But all in all important game for ElementriX True to be in the contention. And before the match started, ElementriX were at 7th position, and at this match we just got to see Kings of BD, so maybe we might see ElementriX going down on 8th or maybe on 6th. We'll get to see. Before that, we have the top 4 players. Incas, along with him we have Sanchez. So what has been constant from the sides of Savage Esports, that at least one player has been constantly featuring in all these top 4 players of these last 12 matches that we have seen, be it Ligro, Sanchez or Hershey's. Most of the time, frequently Hershey has been popping up, but apart from that, Sanchez has been the one. But 7C Akujor, credit needs to be given to him. Vexy, absolutely finesse performance. But let's just head towards the match summary and let's see how many grenade this time, elimination, and
wow,
this is looking good. As we are inching towards the closure of this total venture of this 15 matches, the grenade elimination is increasing match by match. Last time I guess it was 8 or 10, this time it gets down to 12.
Absolutely, dude. Again, I mean, 12 grenade eliminations is crazy, and only 1 airdrop looted. So that means the teams that we were looking at in the past 2 days that were being so passive, now they have moved on along to being done with that passive approach, and they are just completely wanting to get the kill and the elimination point for themselves. So a GG play being showcased from the side of these teams, and the lobby, the entirety of the lobby altogether itself. But now with only 2 games remaining, 1 on Sanhok, 1 on Erangel, well, I think we can just note it down that it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for the teams on the second page to be able to push on along that are finding themselves on that 14, 15, 16th position.
Definitely, but with that being said, let's just head towards the match ranking and let's see what sort of total points teams were able to get for themselves. 23 for 7C's, Kings of BD getting 22, 15 for JyanMaara, ElementriX 14, all important 14 points. Apart from any team, these 14 points for ElementriX will be helping them to still stay in the top 8. That's my prediction. We'll get to see in the overall ranking, but to RGR Esports, 8 points. I guess the difference still not get created between them and the team that still stand above them, because we still have 2 matches left for them, and the hype is real for sure, Butter, because in this match itself, Noob Alliance, the 7 point that they were able to secure. Maybe we might get to see in the next match any team that are pretty much done by this tournament. They can just go all guns blazing. We might see some sort of drop contestation.
It is possible. It is definitely possible. On the other front, if we talk about the team that we saw on the top, that was 7C's. I mean, incredible feat from their side. First game on Erangel of the day was 16 elimination chicken dinner for the side of 7C. And now, as they move on through to the third game, they're looking at 11 eliminations coming in once again on Erangel for their side. As we move on through, this is a game where nobody could have predicted that DRS, of all the teams, DRS is going to be the team that will be eliminated on that 16th spot with 0 elimination or kill points whatsoever at all. And again, that does not stop DRS, because again, as we move on to the storyboard, which is going to be the overall ranking, we shall see that DRS Gaming are still going to find themselves in the top of that totem pole with 167 points. Only 2 chicken dinners working in their favor compared to 3 for Savage Esports. They are still very much reigning in supreme.
Definitely, and the 167 points as just mentioned, 3 chicken for Savage Esports, 158, 167 JyanMaara, 7C Esports looking good. So 6 teams have actually crossed that 100 markup, and the 200 markup, they're just, DRS are just I guess 33 points shy from that. So that will be the case. Venom Legends, anyway, they are just holding the forte strong. 92 total point is where we stands for Venom Legends. And Kings of BD, 94. Getting one chicken has actually helped them to find themselves in the top position. Now, who goes out? WGNRC, 89. Not a lot of point difference between them and the Venom Legend that stood on the 8th position. XBROTHERS still in contention with 82 total points. Gangster and GRE Esports, so till 12, 9 to 12, any of these four teams have the potential, have the caliber to actually trespass and do some sort of change in equation in the very first half of the table. But apart from that, let's also talk about the points secured by Noob Alliance, 63, same for Scene9, Paradox 58 and Gremlin Storm 40. So what all they can do is just play a havoc in the next two matches.
Dude, I am not liking this because again, I mean, I wanted to have a really good story going on right here at PMPL Qualifiers for South Asia region, but it seems like this is going to get really tough because, I mean, you pointed out that you believe till 12th position it is still possible for the side of the Gangsters as well as 2RGR, but I want to say practically with only 2 games remaining, it is only possible for WGNRC or XBROTHERS to be able to push it, and that's also at a stretch because we're looking at the 8th position held on by Venom at what, 94 points. I mean, it's still quite a big chunk. It's not going to be an easy
I'm
feat
just
to be able to
extending
cover.
my optimism level. I'm just extending my
Fair
optimism level.
Fair enough.
Recently I've been in a lot of yoga classes and I have learned a lot about optimism, so I'm just extending my optimism. That's all I have to say. But no, apart from that, I still have hope that yes, Kings of BD and DG can still make it through. Just imagine teams like Brothers and WG falling down in the very early half of the game as DRS did. This is the battleground. Anything can happen. But at the end of the day, only top 8 out of all these 16 teams after the end of 15 matches will be definitely getting their slot secured for the upcoming PMPL.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better because again, you talk about the top 8, it is so very competitive, basically, right? And again, you talk about that 8th position. For some odd reason, Venom Legend has been stuck on that 8th position for a long time, and they push down to the 9th to the 12th position, and then they push on again, and they come down, and then they push on again. Now today, the final 2 games that are remaining, I hope that Venom Legends is able to retain that position, but we shall see if that will be the case or not. With that, let's move on along, have a look at the schedule where 3 games are done for the day. Now we move on to the map of Sanhok, and well, I don't know which team, but what would you predict? What would you predict, Ankit? Which team do you want to see get the elimination, or rather get the chicken dinner, sorry?
In this match itself. So we have 7C starting the days off, 1 Nepali, again 1 more Nepal, this time Bangladesh. What if we say maybe WG and RC, a Sri Lankan team, getting a chicken, and provided the fact that they are pretty close to where Venom Legends has to be there, but the call has been made by producers, and we just need to head into this very 4th game of the Sanhok of the day.
Oh, that's
and
quick.
We jump into Sanhok. There we have it, the flight path already on its way. And we have that small little map showing that yes, we have the plane completely going from the area of bootcamp. And bootcamp reminds me of 2 teams, Scene9 and Gremlin Storm. And both have hurt themselves so badly that they're just stuck on 14th and 15th. So now it's a fight between Gremlin Storm and Scene9. Who wins the battle at bootcamp? For maybe one last time in the area of bootcamp, I want to see maybe joining one more team. If you remember yesterday, it was NRC just trying to third-party the situation and them getting been third-party by TRZ. So that was the storyline of yesterday's gameplay. Today it has to change, and the change has been made. Gremlin Storm even extending my optimism, just going by the flow, have today have completely ditched bootcamp.
Well. The zone is what I'm looking at, and the zone is taking us with the Paradise Resort being the center, being Savage Esports being in the center. I want to say that either Venom Legends or Savage Esports ought to be able to get this game. they ought to be able to get this game. But on the other front, on a forefront altogether, was that conversation. On the back end is going to be the side of 7Cs. Because, I mean, yesterday also we saw this, and day before as well. They absolutely love that spread out approach that they have towards the eastern southern side of the map of Sanhok. And once again, they're doing the exact same thing. And the best part is the fact that no other team comes close to contesting them. Like, there's nobody at all in the entire
Kings of BD.
right. Like, there's nobody at all. It's just like, all right, you've got that entire place, 7C, you do what you do.
But that's where homework has been done. That's where homework has been done. TRZ and WGNRC. Yesterday, if you remember, the Sanhok where backstab were being made from the sides of TRZ against WGNRC. Today, WGNRC has come up with a different strat and taking out TRZ's one player. So certainly, WGNRC is a certain team that really goes back on the stream and see what has been done and try to rectify this mistake. Had just been 24 hours and there we can see a complete change in strat, and that's what we need in this competitive lobby. You cannot just be that sort of uncautious as how Bad Rev is running out in the open. Oh, QBU takes him down and Mad Cat gets one more finish secured. So this time not WGNRC, someone has come just walking onto the face of it. A gifted kill, a gifted finish point for TRZ.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, that Iron side QBZ was just absolutely played to perfection from the side of Mad Cat indeed. And as he does so, now he's going to push on along with that one elimination point confirmed for his side with no, again, I mean, mind you, he has absolutely no utilities working in the dude's favor. He's got no helmet, no bag, no vest, but he has that elimination point, and that's all that works. But right now, it's going to be Rafith who's going to try and take on that perfectly set up aggression from the side of that team to their face, but I don't think he's going to be allowed. Yep, we can clearly see on the map itself that TRZ has moved away from that location altogether itself, and Gremlin Storm's Rafith is left all by himself. On the other front, as we look at the zone altogether itself, there are a few teams who do not find themselves in the comfort of the zone, and to name a few are definitely going to be DRS as well as, of course, JyanMaara, because these are the teams that are definitely down low south of the map as of now. So they need to make that rotation, but as soon as DRS makes that rotation, they better be careful because right next to them is, of course, going to be ElementriX as well. But seems like DRS, even though there was an audio cue of that, there had to be an audio cue of the vehicle, but he did not retaliate. DRS's player was so very resilient to that. He's got the information, but he's not going to retaliate as of now. On the other side, it seems like WGNRC are definitely going to be pushing on their luck as they try and aggress on against the players of TRZ. And Atomic has been brought down to his knees. So we've got all four players from the side of NRC pushing on along, and of course that is not looking too good for the side of TRZ because they will not be able to get that revival confirmed for their teammate, which means that they are down to a 3-man squad in the first 5 minutes itself. We've seen a couple of fights taking place right here. We're down to 61 players with still 16 teams surviving, and in all of that, TRZ has definitely taken a massive blow because Atomic and Mamba from their side have been eliminated from this lobby.
But I'm have a kind of look at the way JyanMaara is trying to make a move. Snipe Whitey leading the front, and this time Paradise Resort still in the contestation by Savage Esports. Shots are being thrown again by 7C and NRC. I really want to see. So 7C still have that fanned out approach with one player just out of the map. With Precious, Fear and Akujod, it's Memo still stuck in dock. I really don't know what sort of decision he's trying to make, but heat waves are coming out of Gremlin Storm's boot camp area, so not looking good for Gremlin Storm, to be honest. Just Rafat and Sickfly surviving, and I guess the finish might have been secured by 7C because it was them that was trying to take the shot against the players. Brothers having and finding themselves close to where Paradise Resort is actually positioned, and in the Paradise Resort, the A where Paradise stands, we have C9 Esports. We have a fanned out approach by them. So any team, if they try to make a rotation or tries to come out of Paradise Resort, they have to be better prepared because C9 Esports are on to hunt. Last 2 matches, they have to just go all guns blazing, and they are trying to do so, but still not able to get any finish point. I don't know how, but C9 anyhow find Paradox, beat with the game of Erangel Miramar, this time Sanhok again. But this is the love affair, and there we have it, Senior trying to be the slithery snake, the dangerous one, the most poisonous one in this game of Sanhok.
Absolutely, and that is something that is definitely going to hopefully favor C9. But again, is it a bit too late? Because we're talking about just 2 games remaining, right? I mean, this is the second last game of the PMPL qualifiers. So I think it's fair to say that C9 are definitely not going to be able to make it into the top 8. But this is where we can definitely anticipate a big YOLO approach being showcased from the side of the likes of C9, from Gremlin, from so many teams that find themselves on that final page of the leaderboard, that second page of that leaderboard, basically, right? And that is what is being anticipated and being predicted. But will it be the case from the side of C9? Because they are being a little passive as well. I mean, we can clearly see Enki, he is taking shots, but he is being very, very passive in that approach altogether. Absolutely, mate. This is just absolutely ludicrous coming in from the side of Seal9 indeed, because again, the way that this team is playing, it is like they have nothing to lose. And that is so very true as well. I mean, that is absolutely ludicrous for them to try and play it safe, because now is the moment for them to shine, and that's exactly what they're doing. And with that, perfectly set up Molotov, Doom is down on his knees any minute now, and with that, a confirmed elimination point is going to be confirmed for the side of that team. And in doing so, this team of Seal9, they are still not wanting to back down. Just a couple of minutes ago, I was talking about they have maybe just given up or something, but no, that's not the case. I mean, they are definitely here. They are definitely trying. But I will still stick to the same conversation that I had. I think it's a bit too late for them to push on into the top 8.
Definitely, they do have, but they can really make it difficult for the other players to survive. So that's what I was trying to say, where I don't really know, my actual voice got eaten up. I was trying to bring a conversation that if Seal9 here falls when they were trying to take the fight against WGNRC, they have nothing to lose. But at that point, we just got to see a DBS on the face of it, and NRC was just completely revamped out of the situation. Seems like the reincarnation is there. The enabling mode has been there for Seal9 Esports. If NRC has fallen down out here at the 9th position before this match started without getting a lot of points, and there we have it. The emotes are being completely thrown. They know that, yes, they have actually made it difficult and worse, even more worse for the teams and the players of WGNRC to make it to the top 8. And,
seriously? Enki is completely trolling his teammates right now. I mean,
we must thank
honestly. Honestly, the dude is completely trolling his teammates right now with those snowballs and of course just those emotes being showcased from the side of Enki. But indeed, again, I mean, they realize that it is just not possible for them to be a part of that top 8 situation as of now, with this being the second last game of the day. But along with that, JyanMaara Esports, a team that we need to talk about because they have had a phenomenal 2-day affair. First day was A-OK, but the second day and this third day has definitely turned out to be in their favor, and they are pushing on to that luck. But let's see if that aggression and that luck is going to favor them, and it definitely does. It seems like they are going to be pushing on to getting those elimination points against the players of XBROTHERS for now.
And if XBROTHER falls down here, I guess the extension of my optimism just gets a big answer out here. JyanMaara, the team that is already being sitting pretty quietly onto the 3rd position of the overall scorecard, is trying to take down the player at 9th and 10th position. And just now we have just seen NRC going down. If XBROTHER goes down, there is no way in the next game they are making a comeback. I cannot just extend my level of optimism to that level. But if they do have some option and some answer out here, so that's pretty quick. Let's make it that simple. If XBROTHER has to qualify to PMPL, they have to stop JyanMaara right here.
Right here, right now, they better be able to do it. But it seems like Soulless, along with his teammates, all 4 players still standing with a UMP and a Molotov from the side of Soulless, is definitely not going to allow the opportunity to the side of XBROTHERS. And Faisal goes down on his knees and is going to get eliminated. And in doing so, it is going to be none other than JyanMaara pushing on their luck and the aggression still holding on strong. So definitely quite a perfect approach and aggression being showcased from the side of JyanMaara, with all 4 players still standing. But sadly, the one on the receiving end was XBROTHERS, and well, they've got 2-man army, which is going to be Astro and Venom 47. So a tough luck situation. But Astro, out of nowhere, just brings on that spray and was able to deliver a clear blow to the players of course, JyanMaara. And that's not it. He's not yet done. Dude!
There we have it. But somewhere from the backhand side, oh no, Noob Alliance coming up into the fight, getting a lot of finish point racked up for their numbers. Noob Alliance really tried hard in this situation. Credit must be given to how brothers played to perfection. We talked about it, that if JyanMaara stops out here, they were really trying hard to stop them out, but far away. We know if you are indulging and engaging in a fight for more than 3 minutes in a game of Sanhok, you are inviting someone, a third-party situation, and that did happen.
Exactly what happened right there, and indeed in doing so, that has resulted in going against the favor of the team of XBROTHERS, and of course that is where that conversation ends. But the fight continues on in the battleground, where we do have Savage Esports going up against the players of Seal9, where we've seen earlier, again and again, in fact, I mean, in the past 2 days, Savage Esports love their Paradise Resort, especially on the map of Sanhok, basically, right? But this time around, it seems like Seal9 are the ones that are trying to contest that exact same drop location, and Seal9 are spread all across. But will it be enough? Will it be enough to stop Savage Esports in their tracks? As we can clearly see, we've got Legro, who is on towards the southern side of Paradise Resort, and right next to the vicinity is going to be the warehouse where JyanMaara are going to be sticking their thumbs out as well. So a tough luck situation for the side of Savage Esports. Let's see how exactly are they going to be tolerating this sort of an aggression being showcased, not only from Seal9 but from JyanMaara as well.
Definitely, but there we go. 7C Precious going down. The blue is really making it tough for 7C to survive. They are already making it tougher for the rest of teammates. But if they get a lot of finish point right here, they still have 3 players left in the lobby, 2 secured in the name, 14 team, 47 players still alive, and 7C DRS going up in contention from southeastern side. If you remember, 7C was in a big split, and we were expecting that 7C, as soon as they make a rotation, it will be them colliding with DRS Gaming, because with the spread with which 7C were actually going, this is not the first time. We have also seen 7C and DRS going up a humongous amount of time in the fight around the same area whenever this type of zones gets formed, because this is the same approach with what DRS and 7C plays has played in the past, and this time again.
Exactly, that is exactly what the case has turned out to be. And on the other front, it is going to be 7C, as you were just talking about, the team pushing on their luck against the aggressive stance from DRS, and DRS's Delta is going to be given a clear blow to the side of 7C's Fear, and Fear is being eliminated from this lobby altogether itself, thus leaving a 2-man army for the side of 7C. On the other front, we've got Noob Alliance, a team all the way down from Sri Lanka, joining in the fray of aggressive stance and completely decimating the position and stand that Gremlin Storm had taken. So interesting play being showcased from the side of Gremlin Storm in the past 2 days, but sadly it's just not going to be enough for them to qualify for this season's PMPL.
Gremlin Storm, they are done and dusted. One more game still left for them, but I guess that won't be something that they will be looking to eye upon to have as a qualification. That will be something that they can just put water on someone's hope. TRZ
is no bueno.
Again, just making a move pretty close to where JyanMaara actually positioned. 15 minutes into the fight, and we are still down to 41 players, 13 players still alive. The circle, just have a look at it. From the southern side, there is no contestation for Noob Alliance. So can we expect Noob Alliance to just go all guns blazing, because they have already eaten up a lot of players in this lobby? But before this match actually started, 63 points is where Noob Alliance stood. And 92 is where Venom started. So already the buffer has been created at least of 29 points. And it is not that the team from Venom to Noob Alliance are just sitting on their hand. They are also taking a lot of fight. If we talk about 2RGR, WRG, that's eliminated. But let's just see if Noob Alliance makes a comeback, that will be a decent one. C9 Esports pretty close to where Savage Esports are actually positioned. Senior pretty close to have secured getting that one knock, 3 defeats, just one player still alive. All hopes on to CL9. They can't do much more out here. They're already, the points that they have actually secured is gonna not be enough for them. But from the backhand side, Paradox, and this has been the love affair between CL9 and Paradox for a long time. Be it in the area of bootcamp, they have not jumped actually in the area of bootcamp together, but I don't really know. Anyhow, they have found themselves. It's just like you lose a friend somewhere in a fair and you find your friend 2 or 3 years later. That's been the case for Gremlin Storm and Paradox. But out in the open, it's 2RG are trying to take down the players. Dante going down, Ryu securing one more knock onto his name. 0 defeat is where the team stands, but it seems like Kings of BD are in a complete mood to take this fight. Who's Whitey with his UMP tries to take one down, and yes, Ryu goes down, has been completely decimated for the moment with Rana still standing. Vexy has been the one that is trying to take out the knock from the sides of Kings of BD. Has gotten the one finish secured for him. The grenades are being trying to lob by the sides of Kazi. It's not RGR that are out of the zone. It's already Kings of BD that is out of the zone. That grenade has done a detrimental amount of damage, and the blue is already eating up Kings of BD. They need to quickly wrap up the fight because it's just the one lad, Kazi, that's making it pretty worse for Kings of BD to survive in this vicinity. The blue is already eating them up, and no first aid for Mahfouz Whitey, no for Dictator. Just the 13 bandages. The hopes are looking pretty bleak. If you remember, Blotter in the last game itself, Kings of BD made a comeback at 7th position. If they fall short out here, it's an opening. It's a sheer shot opening for 2RGR. It's an invitation. And I guess 2RGR are mature enough to grab this invitation. With that being said, we're still 13 players, 13 teams, 38 players still left alive in this lobby. Yeta just getting the spray control onto the face of Kings of BD, but anyhow the 2 players survive this wrath. 19 minutes into the game, and we're still down to 13 teams, 38 players alive. Run out in the open, 390 meters is what they need to travel, but one good thing that Kings of BD have made is that they have relinquished all these fights and have said no. They have made a rotation and gone out of this situation. But let's see how far RGR goes into this situation. 7Cs getting a lot of fight in the number. There we have it. DRS Gaming again getting eliminated at this very first position. And now is the time, and this was the conversation that we were all having. DRS Gaming, yes, they really had this first game in their favor, but as soon as we have progressed by, there is no looking for DRS Gaming being out of all this situation. Gangsters up front. Venom Legends looking strong for this moment. Venom Legends up against Kings of BD. And both these teams are really struggling at the 7th, 8th position. This grenade can just be the opening that Frypan is looking for. Then yes, there we have it. Dictator going down. Frypan, the he onto his name as a suffix is really making it looking tough for Kings of BD. 2 players gone down, Mahfouz and Dictator. Dante can't do much from here because he is far-fetched away from all these fights. But one good thing that we can get to see from the sides of Venom Legend is that they're still not aggressing in all these fights. Dictator finish has already been secured from the sides of King Venom Legends. But from far away, it's Goldie from the sides of Paradox that has got a knock. That means this brings some time for Kings of BD to regroup. But Steel Shot has just come into this fray to get all these things racked up from the edges. A perfect gatekeep situation is being made from the sides of Paradox. Venom Legend secures one more knock. White goes down, and he was just trying to take up the fight. Dante going down. That means it seems it's done for Kings of BD in this match, with Paradox getting a lot of finish point onto the name irrespective of whatever the play. They are looking pretty good in this moment. Play zone taking down 7C. So a lot of team from 8th to 10th to 11th position have made it real difficult for the players. and they have already gone down. The circle have already made a shift. TRZ in the dead smack center with the compound in their hold. We have still JyanMaara up for contention, but the numbers have already been dwindled down for TRZ and JyanMaara. At any point, if they make a push, if any team make a push, a 4-player fledged push, that can be the case where they can just perish. Out of the blues, we have still ElementriX making a move from the northeastern side. 2RGR just trying to make a move. DE, the Gangsters, still pretty much far-fetched from all these positioning points. Still no kill points, no elimination point, whatever be the case. But up against, they are just trying to gatekeep the situation for Venom Legends. The grenades are being hurled onto the face of it, and he survives the wrath. And in meanwhile, we have Noob Alliance going down by the wrath that has come in from the side of ElementriX. Venom Legends are being taken care of by the Gangsters. Mr. Smokey brings the one knock, but steel shot with a splendid control of spray onto the face of Gangsters has pulled one more down. That means the UMP meta is still back. This is a beast in the close range, and Noob Alliance bids goodbye with 5 total elimination. Jimmy going down. ElementriX get a lot of finish point to the name. Venom Legend, yes, pressure was being made onto the face of it, but they have retaliated into fashion. They have really retaliated into the fashion. 10 teams, 27 players still alive into this lobby, and we are just heading towards a very good circle finish. Everyone from the sides of Savage Esports still alive. Venom Legends, 4 players alive. ElementriX, 4 players alive. The grenades doing business for Venom Legends. Got 3 finish point, but far away. Blah blah blah. He's just waiting. He's just waiting patiently in this sniper nest. And as soon as Venom Legend players gets out in the open, he will want to strike first. Ayus has gone down. Smokey has been completely finished. Numbers has been reduced for Gangsters, but I hope the trust has not been C9 Esports thrown away from this match. Now it's the time for Paradox to get a lot of beating. Venom Legends, anyhow, they have to make a move into the zone. Sancher gets a knock onto the players of ElementriX, completely eating up Sancher. It seems like Savage Esports has completely eaten up the side of ElementriX, and far away we have Venom Legends again going up into the fights between the Gangsters. The fight is just not ending. Blah 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 got one more knock onto the face of Venom Legend, but was just not enough. So we have 3 simultaneous fight where Gangsters are going up against Venom Legends, ElementriX against Savage Esports, and other team going up against. But Gangsters gets one more knock. Gangster get one knock against Venom Legend, and the positioning is so better, so very better for Venom Legend that steel shot has gone down. He was not able to read the position successfully, and just because of that he has gone down. Now is the time for Paradox. Hershey to the 1v1 fight, and we know this lad never misses this mark up. Gets one more knock onto the face of it, and he is ripping things apart for somewhere down the line Paradox. Now Hershey needs the revival. Blah 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 gets one more knock onto the players of Goldie. 7 teams, 13 players alive. Savage Esports need to regroup. This can just be the game, and if here Savage Esports get one win, we already know that the competition between Savage Esports and DRS Gaming is going in for a long time. Just the 2 total points it was Savage Esports were able to secure before this knock, but 10 elimination. Paradox completely decimated, and look at the split with which Savage Esports are actually presenting, and there we have it. Savage Esports getting a lot of finish points racked up to the names. 4 players still standing, and we just have few players from a lot of teams that are standing. With Samir going down, it's an exit for JyanMaara. 5 teams, 9 players still standing in the lobby with Savage Esports 44% win. Far away we can get to see Kazi is healing himself for a long time. I would love to see how many bandages he does have. He has no, whatever be the case, and 2RGR bids goodbye to this match. Savage Esports a complete control onto this match, and I guess it's pretty much done for them. It's TRZ up against to them, and Hershey, look at the way he is running out in the open, completely relentless. He's throwing everything he has. He's just through a sickle to have this even finish point onto his name. And as soon as he reaches Madcat, it will be a 1v1 affair between Hershey and Madcat, where the prowess will be shown by Hershey. The UMP comes in from the backhand side. He's getting a lot of shots, but Hustler takes on Madcat, and it's just the last man standing from the sides of TRZ. As soon as he goes down, it's just done from the sides of Savage Esports. There we have it, a well-deserved chicken for the sides of Savage Esports. 2,254 damage is what they were able to secure with 13 total elimination, 28 total points, and they have gotten again the very first position from where they belongs to. Savage Esports, a well-deserved win for them. But we need to commend the way TRZ actually played in this match. this was the game that we all were waiting for, Savage Esports. And yesterday Sanhok also, if I'm not wrong, it went somewhere down the line in the favor of Savage Esports. And today, this was again the game of Savage Esports. What a game they had. 2,254 damage inflicted in this match, and there we have it, Savage Esports. And I guess the game with what Savage Esports had, Blotter is pretty much chilled. And Savage Esports, the game that they had, Blotter pretty much chilled onto his sofa couch. But let's just have a look at the most valuable player from this match, and it's gonna be none other than from the sides of Savage Esports. This time Sanchir, 7 elimination, 890 damage onto his name with 3 assists. Pretty much done and dusted for Savage, and they have reclaimed the spot of first position. It was a long fought battle between them and DRS, but we have still one game left, ladies and gentlemen, for this complete 15 match affair. We are down to the last match. We'll get the top 8, but different sort of competition has been going in. So some teams are really struggling to make it to the top 8. The competition between Savage and DRS, I guess this will be taking course to the PMPL, the upcoming PMPL. 7 elimination is what Sanchir was able to secure in this match, 890 damage, 3 assists. And that's what he has been doing for himself. It's not only about Sanchir, it's not only about Savage Esports, because we are heading towards the top player from this match. And let's just see who, apart from Sanchir, actually had a very good game in this match. And then we get to see 3 finishes were also being secured from Hershey, if I'm not wrong. We'll get to see that who other 3 players were the hero from this match. But a well-fought game from this match. The top player from this match, the list, there we have it. Matcat, 3 elimination, 905 damage. And yes, Hershey, we just cannot take this lad away. Map by map, we have seen him over the course of this last 14 matches that he has been the one, the consistent one from his team. But this time, Lucifer, from the sides of Noob Alliance, the Sri Lankan player, the Sri Lankan team has been performing. But I guess that's pretty much late from their side. Sanhok has been done. It's just the one game more left. Yes, this was the game where they could have Lucifer and Noob Alliance could have done something differently for Hershey's and Savage Esports. But 3 eliminations, 566, 65 damage for Hershey's, Lucifer 360. So somewhere here down the line, the kills might have been stolen by the teams and by the players. We'll get to see the match summary itself, where we'll get to have the look of how many grenades were being thrown down, how many damages were being dealt. 9581. So we are again back to the healing strat that Sanhok offers to us, and we'll get to see the last player standing. That was from the side of 2RGR. He did really try hard to get a lot of healing done for his side and brought his team closer, but is it going to be enough for him? As we got to see 57 total elimination, 1 airdrop looted, 15 total rescue being made. But that's the time where we head towards the match ranking, where we get to see apart from which other team were able to secure a lot of placement points. 8 for placement points, and this is what I was talking about. 8 for placement points for our 2RGR, and the closeness with which we stand at the 8, 9, 10th position. 9 total point is going to be helping 2RGR Esports for a long time. Savage Esports 28 total points for him. TRZ Esports 17 total points. I guess that will pretty much helping them to get the top 3 slots. 7C Esports again being consistent one. So what 7C Esports does best is in a match where they are not able to get a lot of elimination points, they get at least a decent 5 to 8 to 10 placement points, and there we have it. JyanMaara getting 6 for them, but we'll get to see from 9 to 16 what sort of point difference, what sort of point that they were able to get. But in this match, Gangsters says just the 7 point, Noob Alliance 6. So I guess Gangsters along with Noob Alliance, Paradox pretty much done for this PMPL. Just waiting where the wait is over. ElementriX total 5 points, Venom Legends 5, C9 4, NRC 3 total points. If you remember the start of this match, we were at 89 at 9th position. Certainly these 3 points is not going to be helping them. Just the 2 points for DRS Gaming, and they are out of the first position because Savage Esports have already gotten themselves at the first position. Gremlin Storm's getting nothing out of this match, and this is not a good sign for them. They have been really trying hard, but certainly has not been working for them. We move toward the overall ranking and we get to see if they are just not waiting for them. The first position, we have Savage Esports, 186 total points at the end of 14 points. DRS Gaming, 169 total points, and the position has been completely slipped away. After the end of the 14 match, we have 4 total chicken dinner going in for Savage Esports. DRS Gaming, 2 chicken out of total 14 matches. JyanMaara 162, but the business end is at the 7th and 8th position. JyanMaara looking pretty good. I will want Observer to still stick at the first page. Just hold on. 5th position is where TRZ, pretty decent. ElementriX 109. Venom Legend 97. 96 for Kings of BD. Now both these Bangladeshi teams are in a precarious situation before we move on to 9 to 16, where we'll get to see what sort of point difference is being made. So 92 for WG NRC and 83 for XBROTHERS. So still NRC just 4 points shy, where Venom Legends and one more Bangladeshi team is still standing. They're pretty much in the contention. But God knows, in the last match, if XBROTHER and 2 RGR Esports play out to perfection, it's going to be a tough affair for them. But pretty much done for Gremlin Storm, Seal9, Paradox, Noob Alliance, Gangsters. It's a far-fetched approach, even if we see them aggressing them in the top 8. That has been the case. But the last game is where everything drops down to. The last game is where everything comes down to. Do they have enough? WG and RC, come on my man, you still have enough left in the tank. And I guess that's a savage approach also coming in from the sides of Blotter. The game has such been that yes, he is so much relaxing himself onto the couch. Needs to get himself back. And yes, we will get himself back. But NRC, we need to talk about this team. 89 total point before this match started, now at 92. Just 4 points shy. Just imagine the competitiveness that we have at 9th, 8th, 7th position. Just imagine NRC just getting one team out of this lobby. But one thing is for sure, that in this last game we have DRS Gaming and Savage Esports going up against. Now who is the one that will be getting the top claim slot again in their name? And there we have it. Before the match starts, we again have Blotter, and what a storyline that we have already built. So we have NRC at 92 at 9th position. We have 2 Bangladeshi teams sharing equal tally point at 96, just a 4 point difference. And the first point, the first placement position by DRS is completely being snatched away by Savage Esports. The way you actually zoomed, you're actually pretty close to this game, and this is the closeness that we want in this last match. We want NRC, we want WGNRC, we want this Bangladeshi team, but at the end, we'll just hit the top 8. That's what rule says.
Absolutely, dude. I completely, and I'm sorry I was not part of that equation now that happened. But again, this is how this entire saga has turned out to be. Savage, DRS again and again going back to back against each other, but it all boils down to how this final game is going to be played, and that is an exciting realm to talk about. But on the other front, if we talk about the teams that find themselves on the latter half of the leaderboard, Ankit, what team do you think is still going to be able to make it, has the opportunity in the final game to be able to push on along and be in the top 8 to qualify for this season's PMPL?
I'll be rude honest out here, not extending any sort of optimism to the bottom half of the table. It's just the NRC, just NRC with 92 total points at 9th position. They just only have one good shy, either to trespass Kings of BD, either to pass Venom Legend. But ending everything out here, we need to make a move into this very last game of Erangel, the PMPL South Asia Qualifier. Everything comes down here to this very last game of Erangel. We have 7 Cs, we had JyanMaara getting a chicken in the last game itself. We just got to see how Savage Esports got themselves the snatching of position between DRS Gaming and Savage Esports. So now we have a contestation going for 7, 8, 9. We have also a contestation that have already been built up between Savage and DRS, and in that it seemed that Savage Esports have edged past DRS miles away, because the difference between them now stands for more than 21 points.
Wow, wow. I mean, that is the savage approach, basically, right? That is what has been showcased throughout the entirety of this PMPL qualifier, and that is something that is going to be memorable. But for this final game, let's see if there will be a comeback story or not, because that comeback story is going to be so very crucial and so very important for so many of these teams. With that, as you talk about the flight path, interestingly enough, this is a very down south based flight path on the final map of Erangel. And now I would love to be able to see the map, or rather zone, sorry, to go all the way down towards northeast and maybe even bring Stalberg and Yasnaya into the region. Now, talking about Yasnaya, we do know SA, that's going to be Savage. They love their approach on Yasnaya. But this time around, the flight path being so far away, it seems like it is going to be a different approach from their side. On the other front, as we do see the... Wow, okay. Never mind my story. Never mind what I was predicting. Never mind what I was anticipating. It is going to be the military base that is entirely in the zone this time around. And Gremlin Storm and the likes of NRG WRC are going down towards South Georgia. So they've got a big rotation to make on the other front. For the side of C9, I mean, S9 Esports, they have this in their bag. They ought to be able to do this because they are so very close. But talking about the North Georgia, we do have Gremlin and NRC going back to back, head to head against each other. And this is where the fight, the first blood, can be anticipated from this game.
Oh, definitely. WG and RC, if they fall right here, so Gremlin Storms have nothing to lose, but NRC have everything to lose out there. NRC starts this match at 92 position, and each and every knock will be counted at the end. And there we have it, Sushti going down from the backhand side. It's hot Bad Raven, hot Lil Farm, and I guess punches are being and will be thrown onto the face. A big statement onto the face of NRC. One small little piece of advice for NRC: just fall yourself back here, back from here, because Gremlin Storm won't be missing out on anything, but you will be missing out on a whole complete PMPL upcoming event.
Oh, absolutely. With that UMP approach coming in from the side of not only Gremlin, but also XBROTHERS, it seems like XBROTHERS Dominic has, well, Seal 9 in their approach. And not only that, it is going to be a very close approach from the side of XBROTHERS because, well, Senor from the side of S9 is caught off guard and he is all by himself in the lonesome, and he's going to be dropped and knocked and confirmed eliminated from this lobby. So we've got 2 players already eliminated from this game, and thus leaving us with, again, of course, 62 players, 16 teams still alive in the first 3 minutes of the game altogether itself. With that, as we move on towards the South Georgia, we did talk about this. We've got the NRC team that is going to be almost 2,000 meters away from the center of the zone. So long distance away is what we see this team to be at. But again, when it comes down to that rotation that they are to be anticipated to make, it's not going to be that difficult because there are going to be teams in the contestation, but they are looking pretty confident and, of course, going to be able to move on along with that rhythm that is working in that team's favor. And same, of course, can be said for XBROTHERS as well for now.
No, definitely that's going to be the case for XBROTHERS as well. NRC had a lot to lose in that fight. 2 players already down. Seal 9 going up against, and this is the last fight. This is the last match of this complete qualifier event, and just go all guns blazing. There is nothing to hide upon, because if you hide upon, you will be overshadowed in the upcoming event. So why not just have a good try and have a huge chunk of finish point onto your name and just have a thumping victory. Just the punches that were being thrown onto the face of NRC by the Gremlin Storm's player, hot but Raven, hot form, red hot form. JyanMaara also trying to make a rotation. This is the same circle. This is the exact same circle that we had in the very first game where this PMPL qualifier started, where Savage Esports started things off with 26 total finish point and 41 total points, adding that placement points, 26 plus 15. If my maths is pretty good, that makes a total 41 if I'm not wrong. Well,
Again, I mean, that exactly is what you need. The maths to be strong or not, but to be in the top 8, right? And that is something that has been confirmed from the side of the team, that they ought to be able to move on across comfortably in the top 8. On the other front, as we talk about this being the final game, in the first 5 minutes itself, we are looking at quite a lot of contestations being showcased from these teams. And right now it seems to be 7C's Fear, who is fearless, pushing on against the players of Snipe YT right here. That's going to be not looking too good, because it is going to be JyanMaara who were almost brought down to a 3-man squad, but seems like Fear was a little fearful of taking that knock and was not able to get that spray on point with the 2x that he had. And this is going to allow the side of JyanMaara Snipe YT to be able to move on across, and now it is a first blood for the side of JyanMaara that he's allowed to take. But will it be too late? Yes, it will. And in doing so, Fear will definitely get that point easily enough with that perfectly set up spray. On the other front, it's going to be DRS's Killer YT taking on a player from ElementriX altogether as well. So again, like I said, I mean, this being the final game of the day, there are a lot of fights taking place in the first few minutes of the game altogether itself.
Oh yes, definitely. It's the last game and no one wants to leave any space behind. DRS Gaming also coming up into the fight, but this is the fight that they are having on the northernmost island. That's the Pochinki Island, that's the main island, whatever you want to call about, and they need to make a rotation, because these sort of circles, 99% they have a tendency to actually have a last shift onto the military base island. And I know, if we know, DRS are the better team to actually predict where the circle needs to go.
Dude, I am wanting to predict the circle to go all the way down towards the eastern front. That's going to be Milta Power. But we shall see if that'll be the case or not. On the other front, from the Scar L action coming in from the side of Susan from JyanMaara Esports is going to be trying to knock down 7C's players, because again, this is a revenge story, right? I mean, they brought down Snipe YT from the side of JyanMaara, and now Susan from the side of JyanMaara is trying to bring in that rebel approach against the players of 7C, but it seems like they're a bit too far away and he's not going to be able to retaliate or bring them down. And in doing so, he is going to have to push back away from that situation. 16 teams, of course, still alive, with 59 players, looking pretty decent for the side of JyanMaara and their approach. But right now, Susan on our screens, well, he does not have a lot of utility working in his favor. He does not have a lot of loot, basically, working in his favor. Just one level vest and one level helmet with no backpack is not the way you want to be able to crusade across this battleground. But that is the storyline that's been created for the lad, and he is all by himself, because, again, you look at the minimap, there's, I mean, the teammates, they're nowhere to be seen, mate.
Yeah, definitely, they are not out there. But I really want observers to show us where actually NRC are positioned. NRC are actually positioned, WG NRC, the Sri Lankan team. And along with that, I would love to see Kings of BD and Venom Legends positioning, because these are the three teams that are pretty much in that vicinity, are on the position that one of the team just might get passed out of that top 8 position. So I would love to see if we get to have NRC on our TV screens. We just know that on the Georgopol areas around, one player just got finished. Yes, we know JyanMaara, they have been playing pretty well with 156 total point. NRC coming up to the fight. Venom Legends, this is not looking good. So if Venom Legend goes down, just imagine, brother. At 7th position, Venom Legends is actually positioned for this moment. Venom Legend falls down here. That gives an opening for Kings of BD to aggress even forward. And if Kings of BD goes forward to 7th position, ultimately Venom Legend goes out of top 8. And that makes an opening for NRC. That's the point. NRC not looking good. Venom Legend Frypan has gone down and Amar has also been pulled down. NRC getting eliminated out of nowhere. I don't know, the opening knock was made from the sides of NRC, but we just missed these fights while we're trying to spectate JyanMaara.
You know, we call this the caster's curse, Ankit. And, dude, it's all on you. It's not on me, it's all on you. You called it. You wanted NRC to be able to make it across, but as soon as you were pointing it out, sadly, Venom Legends take this lead and take the supreme lead against the players of WGNRC. And sadly, as you were trying to predict that maybe it might be just possible for WRC, sadly, that's not going to be the case, because Venom Legends reign and supreme, take on the cloud by themselves. And with that, we've got more than 9 teams, 10 teams in the zone altogether itself. And look at Gremlin Storm. I mean, they are playing a very decent bet right now. They have the entirety of that coast all by themselves, and looking at the zone, we know for a fact that that zone is going to constrict all the way on to the military base altogether itself. There's no way, or do you think, Ankit, do you think just by any chance, by 5% chance, that the zone could very well move up north and maybe support Gremlin Storm's position?
There is, I mean, not even a point percentage. All I can expect is with the point percentage, it can still constrict
True.
around that bridge area. That's what all I can
Maximum,
do
right?
from
Yeah.
this. That's the maximum. Yes, exactly. But apart from that, I mean, if the first circle is comprising military base completely, there is no hard and fast way that this can be done. But I guess
Indeed.
NRC. Now I really want to talk about this team. Out of top 8 position, I guess that's pretty much done. So now if we try to have a conversation apart from NRC, because they are out of the lobby and they were the closest to where we can see topsy-turvy performance that could have been made. But let's just have a look at the Savage and the Gremlins performance that is going to the favor. Oh my goodness, Bad Rev is in real hot form. Sancher going down. Savage Esports is not the team that goes down that easy. But yes, there we have it. The trade knock has been brought down. But seems like in this very last match, Gremlin Storm has something different to do.
Well, enough said indeed, because this is where it is going to be a savage approach against the likes of course, the 16th position holder team. That is going to be Gremlin Storm for now. With the UMP approach, he is definitely going to be able to bring that player down, and Hustler is down on his knees. So Savage Esports, they need to claim the throne for themselves. As you said perfectly, they've got a 21-point lead, but in the final game, it seems like the likes of the team that find themselves at the bottom of the totem pole are going to be able to push on against them to not allow that sort of a positioning. And this is where Hershey is going to be pushing on to the compound. That, of course, is being held on from the side of Gremlin, but will it be enough? Gremlin and Hershey, they find themselves in the blues, but the DV, as you said it, dude,
Just onto the face of it.
Absolutely does.
Oh,
and
man.
that means SA, they still have a chance.
DVS on the face of it, you have a lot of lead. If this
Wow.
gets connected, even half of it onto the face, you are done. You are pretty much done. And Gremlin Storm, they have really something different to offer us. Sea building and every compound from the military base, be it be all observatory, prison and office, everything in the center lines of the circle with JyanMaara and XBROTHERS coming up into the fight. I guess we have already got the top 8.
Oh, we probably do. But look at 2 RGR and their rotation, right? They're trying to use that bridge for themselves, the Ferry Priya bridge. But will it be... No, they're not actually. Hold on. Hold on to my thought indeed altogether, because they seem to have stopped right there, and they may be looking on to making that water rotation, where indeed there was Paradox that were waiting towards that Ferry Priya bridge, but it seems like Paradox will not be given the chance to be able to eliminate the side of 2RGR or get the elimination point for themselves on the other front as we move on through towards the Nova Rupnoy altogether itself. They've got Noob Alliance going up against the players of DRS. Noob Alliance already have confirmed 1 defeat for themselves. That means 1 elimination point has been confirmed for themselves, but DRS is the team that they're going to be facing the grunt against, and that's definitely not going to be an easy one, because you talk about the zone is going to be almost 1,000 meters away from the side of Noob Alliance. They find themselves onto the Nova Rupnoy, but it's not going to be enough, mate, because you need to move into the center of that military island, and that is where the brunt of it is going to be faced not only by Noob but also by DRS. But thankfully, seems like Delta from side of Noob has been able to accumulate a vehicle for himself in the garage, and that is definitely going to be a pristine timing. On the other front, the Gangsters just completely spraying Gremlin Storm's rotation down, and this indeed is going to be bringing them hopefully some points. As of now, they've been able to knock but not confirm a kill for themselves, thus no elimination points, and Gremlin Storm are still going to be able to walk away for now at least.
Definitely. Gremlin Storm's getting a lot of backlash still. Bad Rev, the hot red Bad Rev still in the form, with Ruffat still just waiting. Gangsters are giving the revival, but pretty not sure that little did they do know that there is Ruffat and Evil Eye that will be getting blown off, but seems like blah 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 has no single idea that Ruffat is still hiding. He goes for the prone shot, but yes, there we have it. He didn't have any sort of idea. He will be completely finished, and this is a very cheeky angle that Ruffat is holding. One wrong misstep, and he's on the land again.
Exactly, Smokey was just given the revival, but with that perfectly set up nade parade being showcased from the side of Rafat, it is definitely going to be the end of blah blah blah, and in doing so, it seems like Gremlin Storm have had the better half of the day, and they are at a premise where they cannot survive at all from, and in doing so, this is going to be the end. On the other front, talking about third parties, we've got Venom Legends joining the show in the fray, and this seems like the perfect moment for Gremlin Storm as well as Venom Legends to be able to make that spray count, but it seems like Rafat is going to be playing it A-OK and low-key approach on this side. He's already got up, the team has already got 5 defeats, that means 5 elimination points, but of course Gremlin Storm, being at the bottom half of the leaderboard, are playing it low-key. They're just playing it all across the board and trying to get as many points as they possibly can, which of course they know is not going to be enough. On the other front, as we talk about the military base altogether, the TDM action being showcased right here between 7C and Seal9.
Definitely 7C going up against, showing the prowess. Inky tries to bring one more knock, but far away. DRS are also going up into the fight. 7C is getting a lot of shots from different directions. It's not just about Seal9. DRS far away. Wherever you talk about the fight, DRS are jumping out, and Seal9 within a whisker is just surviving on the last single player. 7C is clear, going up into the fight. I don't really know, Inky, why did he come out in the open? And there we have it, a third party situation. XBROTHERS this time. 7C, even before they try to recover, they have been put down, and the final nail in the coffin has been brought down. And it's XBROTHERS who wins this battle this time.
Dude, talk about this, Ankit. I mean, yesterday, day number 2 of the PMPL qualifiers, right? We were looking at 18-minute marker and still 16 teams alive. They were playing so safe. But now, as we move on into the final game of the day, the teams are just completely YOLOing it across. And this is where now DRS's Rebel has the opportunity to take down Ayush from the side of the Gangsters, but the spray definitely not connecting and not giving the equal amount of damage that was required from Ayush to be able to bring that elimination point to himself, thus allowing the Gangsters to still move on forth into the zone. On the other front, Delta, his teammate, as well as Killer YT are definitely going to be taking on different teams altogether, and in doing so, along with all of that, we've got ElementriX bringing down Savage Esports. So Savage Esports getting eliminated on that 12th spot, thus remaining 11 teams in the arena. But Battleground is definitely being torn apart from the side of DRS, because DRS are taking multiple shots across multiple teams and they are bringing in the glorious victory for themselves. So right now, what is the real soldiers working towards? They want to be able to progress on along and be on top of the totem pole on that storyboard. Either ways, I mean, they're qualifying, so it's all good. It's all good for them.
Oh yes, definitely. ElementriX just getting the better half of all these fights. TRZ far away. They are also getting been shot. 5 finish point for DRS, the real soldiers. Paradox, you look at them, the second highest finish point, the third highest finish point in this match. But with that being said, I guess Paradox are being done and dusted. Whichever team I'm just trying to pick, they are getting out of the lobby in a second.
Yep, that's exactly what's taking place right now, mate. We've got 10 teams remaining. I cannot believe this. We're 18 minutes into the final game of Erangel right here at PMPL Qualifiers South Asia region. And we've got 10 teams remaining, 25 players alive, and DRS are definitely in the forefront of all of it. But do not forget, Venom Legends are still there with all 4 players. XBROTHERS are there with all 4 players. And looking at that mini map, Kings of BD, they are just chilling across. I mean, we're looking at so many fights, but Kings of BD, they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're going to chill around. We're going to wait. And look at that zone. Look at that push. Does not matter for Kings of BD because they are still in the compound, still looking pretty comfortable. So maybe this might be their game.
I'm not even making it up. Does XBROTHERS have a chance? 83 total points is where they stood before the start of this match, and with all the 4 players intact, 3 finish points in the game, if they get a high fragging chicken there in dinner in their favor, they can really have a good chance. Gremlin Storm being completely kicked out of the lobby, with the complete spray transfer going in from sides of Killer YT onto the face of Noob Alliance. They are in a pretty precarious situation. But talking about the positioning of Kings of BD, Kings of BD knows that there will be certain teams that will be trying real hard, so why to give them any chance? And just because of that, they, as you've just mentioned, they're pretty much chilling around. But it has to be a Herculean effort, a try-hard effort before XBROTHERS leaves the lobby to actually just be the last one chance to make a successful event into this one.
Well, if at all there's a rivalry and revenge being created, it is definitely going to be between XBROTHERS and DRS, because DRS have been hunkering down on the position and placement of XBROTHERS for quite some time, and still XBROTHERS are alive. On the other front, talking about Kings of BD, they seem to have a little bit of trouble of their own against the players of TRZ, where TRZ's four-man army, STF, you look at him with only a sliver of an HP left on him, he is going to be pushing on across to take down the players of Kings of BD. And Kings of BD, even though they thought the compound was theirs, it seems like not for long, because TRZ Esports are in the action, are in the spray, with 4 elimination points already confirmed for them. They want to be completely decimating this compound against the players of Kings of BD. As of now, with the UMP in control for so many of the players, at least 2 of the players from the side of Kings of BD, along with again, I mean, this is getting close. This is getting crazy close, because a 4v3 action is what we're anticipating here.
Just imagine, Blorder, if Kings of BD falls out without any points getting secured, and we have XBROTHERS on the right side of our TV screens with getting 3 finish point and 3 players still alive. Is it even the smallest of the chance for them, for XBROTHERS, to actually topple Kings of BD in this match? Because it's done for NRC. There we have it. The grenade comes in and boom goes Dante, boom goes TRZ. They are just trying to make a push. Mehfooz YT going down. Kings of BD on the verge of getting eliminated. TRZ are on a mad push. And far away we can also get to see XBROTHERS. They are also falling down. So simultaneously we are having 2 similar fights, where one Kings of BD, TRZ are actually helping XBROTHERS. But XBROTHERS are like, why would you help us? We are down by ourselves, 2 players down. I guess that's pretty much done for XBROTHERS too.
Well, we've got 14 players alive, 5 teams remaining. ElementriX still trying to survive for as long as they possibly can, with Incus with the UMP control, along with Mr. Hughes with, again, an amazing control. 2 of the best players right here from the side of ElementriX, but is that going to be enough for them to push on along? Because the zone is far away, 100 meters away, out in the open on the other front. As we move on down towards Mr. Hughes, he's got his crosshairs set up exactly on point and precise against the players of XBROTHERS, but XBROTHERS, they are taking a chill pill as of now. Will that be enough? Because once again, as we talk about that zone in the minimap, the team of XBROTHERS need to move. As soon as they do, Mr. Hyozo have them in his crosshair, and this is not looking good or easy for the side of that team. On the other front, talking about the team that is almost on top is going to be DRS, right? I mean, we know Savage was on top in the previous game, but this time around, Savage has been eliminated. DRS is still surviving with a 3-man army and, alright, correction, 2-man army, because Killer YT has just been sprayed like astronomically crazy from Astro, and in doing so, it is probably going to be a 2-man squad from the side of DRS that will remain. XBROTHERS are, I mean, again, they're definitely trying to play to perfection in this final game, with 5 teams still remaining. This is anybody's game for the moment.
Definitely. The kill has finally been stolen by the sides of ElementriX. Knock that was secured from the sides of Faisal onto DRS. TRZ Mamba just trying to blow off this McLaren parked in front of him, just to create that artificial cover. And I guess Tripan's location is pretty much known. Why to throw grenade? You have pretty much UMP in your hand. Just go and ram in the players, and there we have it. Complete elimination. With that being said, Venom Legends leaves the lobby with 6 total elimination. XBROTHERS still have the hopes alive. They get a knock onto the face of Yuzu, the one that stole the kill of Killer White from the sides of DRS. XBROTHERS will get all the finish point to the number. Only if that happens, they can have the chance. But that's pretty much more to ask for them.
Well, I mean, look at this meta that's going on in the final game, dude. The UMP in action from so many teams. It is ludicrous altogether itself, and with that, the perfect spray being showcased from the side of Faisal from XBROTHERS indeed will be the elimination of DRS. That means we've got 3 teams remaining. We've got TRZ trying to bring on an aggressive stance against the players of ElementriX, but Mr. Hughes is going to be sprayed down onto his face, and that indeed is going to be the end of that team from the looks of it, where indeed ElementriX are trying their level best, but just one man surviving. He's trying his level best. He's got the utilities absolutely in control, but it's not going to be enough. It's definitely not going to be enough. But a perfect game for the side of ElementriX, because 7 elimination is what they walk away with.
And before stepping into the PMPL, that was the way they have to start it. To go better into this PMPL. Now a 3-3 affair. 13 elimination for TRZ, 4 for XBROTHERS. Had the numbers been flipped in terms of elimination for XBROTHERS, things could have been really different for them. Now the high hopes could have been lit up, but even if they get all these 3 finish points and the 15 placement points, that will just not be enough. With the Elite going for a scout onto these areas, he knows that there is no one, but as soon as he reaches there, it's Mamba along with MadCat just presenting him with a garland that yes, just come in and we'll be serving you with the best of the best that we have in the business.
Absolutely, indeed, we will. With that, we've got, as we just said, TRZ along with XBROTHERS. XBROTHERS, a team that has been so very phenomenal, so very patient in this entire PMPL qualifiers. But will this gameplay be enough for them to be able to, well, be a part of PMPL season coming up next? But we shall have to see if that'll be the case or not. For now, we've got 3-man squad from the side of XBROTHERS going up against a 3-man army, or rather correction, a 2-man army from the side of TRZ. But it seems like a 2v2 is in action where Faisal has been brought down to his knees, Astro has been brought down as well, but TRZ still able to get the better half of that fight against XBROTHERS, will be able to get that chicken dinner with a 16 elimination in total, along with the chicken dinner, moving all the way up to the 5th position in the overall ranking. So an amazing approach from the side of TRZ, and well, they have been confirmed to move on across in the top 8 of PMPL qualifiers for South Asia region.
Definitely the top 8 moves out of this event, and a lot of takeaways for TRZ in this last match itself. All these late rotations have been certainly working in the favor of TRZ, and look at the amount of damage that they have inflicted. 20-50, 16 elimination, and they have retained their top 5 spot, rather, I would should say, and there we have it for TRZ in the last match itself. MadCat along with Mamba STFU. This reminded me of the matches that they played in the national championship, not gonna lie, but let's head to the most valuable player from this match. And he's going to be none other than Mamba from the sides of DRS Esports. 3 elimination, 1089 total damage, survival time of 24 minutes 37 seconds, and finally the lad has been delivering it to perfection. Have been talking in chat with Mamba, and this time TRZ Esports Mamba final game. Just imagine the course of 14 game, Mamba was there. He was certainly getting into the top 4 players list. But this time he finally finds himself where he deserves to be, with MadCat joining along him with 8 elimination and 616 damage. But look at the amount of assist Mamba has provided. 3 elimination and 1089 damage. That's where MadCat has actually capitalized. So a friendly banter is what I expect after this end of this match.
Definitely, dude, because I think they need to have a WWE wrestling match right at that moment wherever they're at. Because again, I mean, you talk about
you stole
Mamba.
My kill. You stole my finish point.
Yeah, again and again. This, I think, is the lowest elimination MVP that we've seen throughout the 3 days.
Definitely.
No question about it. I mean, you talk about the kind of assists that he was able to get. Alright, good for him. But MadCat, you better be mad against your teammate, mate. With that, moving on to the match summary. We've got, wow, once again, a very close battle being showcased in this final game. 61 total eliminations, 63 total knockouts, along with 6 grenade eliminations. This is bonkers, and look at the amount of total rescued. 80.
Wow.
That means the teams right here, they were wanting to survive. They were wanting to give their level best in the final game.
Definitely, if you have areas like military base, that offers you a lot of railings, those cemetery blocks behind that, you can have those revivals getting done. Certain revivals are also made on the area of bridges all around. But all in all, this 300-meter finish by Venom Legend Void also had a very good time. But match ranking is on our TV screens. TRZ getting 31 total points, ElementriX 17, XBROTHERS 17, DRS 16, 12 for Venom Legends, looking pretty strong. And before we end up and wrap up all these matches, finally Gremlin Storm has something to get away. 6 elimination points. They look pretty strong in this match. Hot Bedrev in hot red form. I guess next time he comes in, he'll be better prepared.
Well, definitely. Again, I mean, nothing taken away from the aggression that Gremlin Storm showcased, but they need to learn a little bit of few tricks and sleeves from the side of 7C, because again, when you talk about 7C, they worked on that placement point on day 1 and a little bit of day 2 as well, like half of day 2 as well, right? And then they pushed on along with that aggressive streak that they were able to showcase not only yesterday but today as well. On the other front, you talk about Gremlin Storm. In the overall ranking, we shall see that Gremlin Storm, they got a lot of eliminations. They got a lot of points through that. But the placement points is where they slacked and lacked so much that there was no way, there was absolutely no way that they could come back along. On the other front, as we move on down through to the 9th to the 16th position, WGNRC, what went wrong to RGR? Savage Esports, this is not the kind of final game that we anticipated.
No, definitely.
Or again,
with adding more to it, with the same circle that Savage Esports made into a 41 total finish, total points with 26 total finish.
right.
And with that being said, let's just head towards the overall ranking. So congratulations to all these top 8 teams. A heartily congratulations to Savage Esports, DRS Gaming, JyanMaara Esports, 7Cs Esports, TRZ Esports, ElementriX, Venom Legends and XBROTHER. All the top 8 will be aggressing to the upcoming PMPL. But I'm a bit sad, I would rather say, for DRS Gaming not getting to that 200 markup. That could have been achievable.
Dude, you know, more than that, I want to be saying this out loud, which is going to be the fact that WGNRC started the day off on the 7th position with 79 points, but sadly have been pushed on down to the 10th position with 92 points. So that is definitely not looking good for their side. On the other front, talking about XBROTHERS, they make it to the top 8. I mean, the team that was, when the day started off, XBROTHERS, they were not looking too good.
In the last game. Wow.
Right? Exactly my point. I mean, when the day started off, it was not looking like it's going to be possible because they were in the top 8, but they were so very close. But indeed, in the end, they have made it. So we've got the top 8 teams that are going to be moving on through. Along with that, we've got the elimination leaders, and nobody has been able to come close to Hershey from the side of Savage Esports with 46 eliminations, 6,833 damage. Just bonker amount of skills that Hershey has been able to showcase.
And also the second least average survival time. If you look at that, 19.04 for JyanMaara's Soulless,
that's true.
28 for Delta, and 20 minute 8 second for Venom Legends Steel Shot. So just imagine the amount of influence and the fear he inhibits in the opponent's mind is just fantastically good. The amount of damage that Delta has also secured is pretty phenomenal, but he has not been able to confirm all those damage in terms of elimination. But Sanchez, look at his damage. 23 elimination and damage close to what? I guess his own player Hershey was able to secure. It was 68 and something. He's standing on 6100. This is another big team coming out of a Mongolian region. Earlier we had Zeus, now turned into IHC. We had Astro Academy with some different lineup. This time Savage Esports will have to keep a keen eye onto them with the amount of firepower they bring in. This is just phenomenally too good. But DRS certain player, Killer YT, Rules,
exactly right.
They were also pretty good in this elimination leader.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I wanted to kind of mention as well, because DRS, the real soldiers, the way that team has been able to progress on along, this is just absolutely crazy, abysmal amount of skills that they've been able to showcase against that Mongolian domination that you spoke about, which is so very true, because Savage Esports, yes, they were that as the entire tournament started off, but DRS, they were consistent, they were thorough, and they moved on across from one game to the next, and they had from 3 players all part of the top killer list, the top elimination list, and that is something that showcases the amount of abysmal power that the side of DRS brings to the table.
And yes, with all the games done, I guess we are already pretty much awakened with the fact that there are a lot of talents in the South Asian region, and we have already found out the all top 8 teams that will be aggressing in the upcoming PMPL. But with that being said, we are pretty much done with today's gameplay. We'll meet you straight away into the upcoming PMPL. But till then, take care, bye-bye, and have a good night.
go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.